WHCS Channel 29 presents Carolina League Baseball. The Virginia Generals versus the Hagerstown Suns. Live from Peninsula War Memorial Stadium in Hampton, Virginia. I'm Terry Armour, and with me is Greg Bickervaris. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad, and welcome to War Memorial Stadium tonight, where the Virginia Generals, with a 12-39 record and 21 games behind the Durham Bulls in the Southern Division, take on the Hagerstown Suns, who are 26-25. Well, the Virginia Generals is kind of changing in a sense. They've won their last 3 games in a row over the Lynchburg Red Sox over this past weekend, and Hagerstown has won the last 3 out of 4 against Kinston, so both teams are pretty hot right now in the middle of the first half of the season, Terry.
That's true. A lot of teams want to get hot right now going into the second half of the season, and both these teams are hot. The Generals, who have won 3 games in a row, are pretty much riding on the shoulders of Angel Morris, who's got a nice little 11-game hitting streak going. I guess I should say 10 games, because it'll be 11 tonight if he gets a hit.
And when you think about War Memorial Stadium, folks, this is the first time a game has been televised here. A lot of great players from the past. Duke Snyder played here in 1944. Chuck Connors, of course, better known as the Rifleman, played here back in the 1940s. Gary Carter played here in 1973. Juan Samuel, Julio Franco, Don Carmen. The name goes on and on, Terry. And really, this team has a lot of history to it, and this ballpark really is one of the better ones in the Carolina League. Yeah,
it's got a lot of old memories. We got a lot of guys used to play here. A lot of guys now, hopefully, will be future stars. So, you know, what can I say, Greg?
The pitching matchups tonight, Terry. Brian Dubois will be pitching for the Hagerstown Suns. He's 3-5. Of course, he pitched a 1-hitter against Prince William last Thursday. So right now, he's playing some of his best ball, and of course, for Virginia.
For Virginia, of course, we have Mr. John Boyles going. He's a new addition to the team. He's 1-1 with a 1.23 ERA. He's got a good curveball. We better go into the lineups now, Greg.
And starting right now for the Virginia Generals, as checked out the Hagerstown Suns, as you see on your screen, second baseman Buford. Stryjuk will be at shortstop. Harris will be at center field. The first baseman in the cleanup position will be Segway. The designated hitter will be Bettendorf. The right fielder will be Voigt. The left fielder will be Brown. And the catcher, Louis Polino. The third baseman will be Latmore. And pitching tonight will be Dubois, as Terry mentioned, with a 3-5 record. And the manager for the Hagerstown Suns. His team right now is 26-25, is Mike Hart. And for the Virginia Generals.
For the Virginia Generals, in center field leading off will be Ken Headley. Stu Cole will be playing shortstop. The DH, Derek Ladnier. Francisco Laureano at second base. Batting cleanup, Angel Morris, the first baseman. Tom Johnson will be in right field. At third will be Luis Corsino. Kyle Reese will be behind the plate. Andre Ford in left field. And, of course, the pitcher, John Boyles, 1-1, 1.23 ERA. Joe Breeden is the manager of the Generals, and he's got to be pretty happy about the way they're playing right now.
Certainly that is the case. They've won the last 3 games in a row, and the Generals this year, a co-op team, Terry. They started off with the Kansas City Royals, but the last month or so they've gotten players from all over. And, of course, the draft is coming up, and they'll be looking to that. And a year of transition, I'd say, for the team here in Peninsula. They've been called the White Sox last year, the Peninsula Pilots, and now they're affiliated with the Royals, a co-op team, but things are starting to look pretty bright the last couple of days or so.
Well, when you got a bunch of new players from other organizations, it's going to take time for the guys to gel, and hopefully that's what's happening now with the Virginia Generals. The guys are getting used to each other, and hopefully they'll continue the streak, keep playing some good baseball.
The manager, Joe Breeden, is definitely not a stranger to the Peninsula, having coached at Warwick High School a couple of years ago, as well as coaching at William & Mary. He takes over this team. A new start here at War Memorial Stadium as you take a look at the Hagerstown Suns right there as they're getting ready for their doubleheader tonight. As you take a look at scenic War Memorial Stadium, but Joe Breeden, he's very optimistic about the second half of the season, and that's one good thing about the Carolina League. It starts all over in the second half, Terry.
Yeah, thank God for the Generals, too, because if it didn't start over, I think they'd really be trying to dig themselves out of a big hole, but it does start over. That's something to look forward to.
And of course, tonight's doubleheader is Just Say No to Drugs Night in conjunction with the Hampton City Schools. Also tonight, game will be taped and played back on Channel 29, as you well know, right here on the Hampton City School Channel. Virginia comes into the game following its road trip to Lynchburg. They won all 3 games in a row. And of course, the Hagerstown Suns trying to continue their streak as well, winning last night 7-3 over Kinston.
That's right, and the Generals, who won last night 7-2, they're playing good now. Things are just coming along for them. At the beginning of the year, a lot of errors, and errors lead to runs. You get men on base. And what can I say? Hopefully they'll start playing the way they should be playing, and of course the way that Joe Breeden thinks they should be playing.
And of course, this game was brought to you by several of our fine sponsors. Auto Muffler King, Robinson Contracting. We'll get to all of them throughout the game. And right now, for 3 generations and over 31 years, Auto Muffler King has provided the Peninsula with the kind of exhausting service you and your car deserve. At Auto Muffler King, we replace or repair only what you need to keep your car safe. 1 mile south of Mercury Boulevard on Jefferson Avenue at the intersection of Briarfield Road, where you see the big giant on the roof. You can't miss them, right on Jefferson Avenue. The number there is 244-1439. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. to 9:05 and Saturday from 7:30 till 1. The manager there is Don Hedrick at 244-1439. That is Auto Muffler King on Jefferson Avenue. Some of our fine sponsors. Let's quickly go over the Southern Division and Northern Division here in the Carolina League. I'll give you the Northern Division, and Terry will give you the Southern Division. For the Northern Division, it's Salem with a 29-22. They're in first place. They're the Pirates Farm Club. Hagerstown Suns, who the Virginia Generals will be playing tonight, are 3 games out. They're 26-25, 3 games behind the Salem Buccaneers. And 3.5 games out are the Prince William Yankees, who are 25-25. And in last place, the Lynchburg Red Sox, who were the Lynchburg Mets last year, are 17-34. They're 12 games out. Before we get to the Southern Division, in the Northern Division, the race is pretty tight right there, Terry.
Yeah, it's tight up in the first few spots, but of course Lynchburg is still in it. A good winning streak for Lynchburg might get them in it. That's a good division. That's a more solid division, and no one is really out of the race, as in the Southern Division, where Durham leads Kinston by 2 games, and Winston-Salem is only a half game behind Kinston. Virginia, of course, 21 games out. Might as well say, hey, you know, they're out of it, but hopefully they'll just get some momentum going for the second half.
And of course, in the Southern Division, it's Durham leading the way at 33-18. A really good year for the Durham Bulls.
They're playing good ball, they're getting good pitching and hitting, and that's something that a lot of teams want. You want solid pitching and some good hitting. They're getting it both at the same time.
There you take a look at the umpires walking out onto the field. Umpires in the Carolina League, and they're getting ready for tonight's action. A doubleheader here at War Memorial Stadium. Virginia Generals with a 12-39 record taking on the Lynchburg Red Sox with the 17-34 over the weekend, and then playing Hagerstown tonight, who has a 26-25 record. Well, this series matches 2 former Generals against their former team. Now, both Brian Dubois, who's pitching tonight's game for Hagerstown, and Steve Colker, the Suns reliever, have donned the Generals uniform this season. Both were moved to Hagerstown by the Orioles organization, and the Orioles have done a lot of shuffling this year. Of course, the Orioles are having a lot of difficulty, and they're looking to their lower levels, but they really haven't performed as to par, except for possibly Rochester in the AAA level.
That's right. The Orioles have a problem now through their whole minor league system, and that's probably leading up to the major league club, where they're not getting any real good production out of anybody. That's why they're doing all the shuffling. Of course, by Virginia being a co-op team, as you mentioned earlier, that's how we got Brian Dubois. He was on loan, as was Colcar.
And of course, we'll go over another commercial right now. Robinson Contracting sponsoring also this game between the Generals and the Hagerstown Suns. They have free estimates, residential, commercial, interior, exterior, all types of paper, hanging, texture ceilings, drywalling. They do it all. Home improvements, all types of painting, as I mentioned, full line janitorial services and maid service as well. They're located downtown Newport News on 2003 25th Street, Newport News, Virginia, 23607. The person there to contact is Helen Robinson. and that is Robinson Contracting, located on 2003 25th Street. All the painting, ceilings, drywalling you need to take care of, as well as janitorial service and maid service as well. As you take a look at some of the fans coming into the ballpark tonight between the Generals and the Hagerstown Suns. As right now, the Suns, who are playing pretty well, I was talking to the radio broadcaster Randy Stevens, who broadcasts the games for Hagerstown, and he was telling me this has been an off year as far as talent is concerned for Hagerstown, but you couldn't tell that by the record.
No, you couldn't. They're playing good ball. Chris Pender, who's a local product, is one of the best pitchers, relief pitchers in the league. They're getting that from him. Brian DuBois' arm, certainly that doesn't hurt him, having him back on the staff. You got Mr. Buford, who is the son of former major leaguer Don Buford. He's swinging a good bat, as is David Segui, who, of course, is the son of Diego Segui, another former major leaguer.
That certainly is the case, and the Virginia Generals taking on the Hagerstown Suns June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And Hagerstown has a 3-1 series record this year in 1988 over the Virginia Generals. Hagerstown lost one game to the Generals up in Maryland a couple weeks ago. And of course, we're getting ready for game time here between the Generals and the Hagerstown Suns. As we mentioned to you tonight, is just say no to drugs here at War Memorial Stadium. Greg Picaveras along with Terry Armour. And when you think about the two parent ball clubs for both teams, the Baltimore Orioles and Kansas City Royals, what a difference 4 or 5 years has made. The Baltimore Orioles won the World Series in 1983, and the Kansas City Royals were right there in 1985, but things have not been real solid for both teams the last couple of years.
That's true. The Orioles having a problem, as I mentioned, with the minor league system. They're not getting any good players out of the minor league system. Worthington and Nichols for the Orioles have been up and down from AAA to the big team. The Kansas City Royals, who knew that they would just fall apart like they have, and that's baseball.
Of course, Channel 29 presenting plenty of sports for you. High school football, high school baseball. Sam Still, the producer, Scotty, the director, and of course, our great staff here doing the camera work tonight. And as you take a look on the monitor, Virginia Generals managed by Joe Breeden in his first year. And of course, for Hagerstown Suns, Mike Hart, the manager. They've been through a year of transition this year for the Generals, but they're trying to get things geared for the second half of the season. And Hagerstown, who's located in Hagerstown, Maryland, always one of the better teams in attendance. They have had 28,000 already in just 2 months, basically April and May, and they average about 1363 per game. In Virginia drew about 18,071 this year, about close to about 1,000 a game with season ticket holders. But as the weather warms up, hopefully more fans will come out here to the ballpark, Terry, like baseball continues during the summer.
That's true. Nobody likes to watch a loser, Greg, and I think if the team starts winning, the weather's warmer, there's no place else to hang out but the ballpark.
And when you think about this Hagerstown team, the last couple of years, they've had managers Glenn Molinaro and Gulliver. Gulliver, of course, now is managing with Bluefield, and Molinaro is a hitting instructor with the Cleveland Indians. So this team has had 3 different managers in the last 3 years. Of course, the Peninsula White Sox were here a couple of years ago. They had Duke Sims and Bob Bailey, and several managers have gone over to higher organizations as well, AAA, and this is really a good stepping stone. One of the better Class A leagues in all of baseball is right here, Terry.
That's true. Very, very big history, I should say long history, so to speak, here with the Virginia Generals. I think they came into the league in the early 40s, and you look around at the ballpark, it certainly is an old ballpark. I guess that's why they call it War Memorial Stadium. When you have a team with a rich history, once a team starts losing, people don't want to see them anymore.
And here come the Virginia Generals out in the baseball field. Virginia Generals, the Royals co-op team, they're dressed in white and navy blue as we get ready to sing our national anthem. It will be Colin Neely from Kickitan High School. Colin will be singing the national anthem tonight as we're just about set for Carolina League action here on Channel 29.
Our score, 24-14. Semifinal action in AAA history.
Yeah. You want to wait a second and see. We're going to wait till tonight comes back and get it close. So we'll have it like in a minute. I don't know.
Long pass goes out of bounds for the
And the crowd is getting back on hand here at War Memorial Stadium as the first pitch will be thrown out tonight by Jonathan Baker. He'll be throwing the first ball out tonight. The youngster throwing out there, and Glenn Strong, the assistant general manager, escorting him out to the field. And he'll be throwing the first pitch out here to the catcher.
Mr. Kyle Reese.
To the catcher, Kyle Reese. And we have a couple players for Virginia on the disabled list right now, Terry. And Pete Capello, Doug Mintz, and of course, Greg Papa George. Doug Mintz pitched at Warwick High School under Joe Breeden, so he is pretty familiar with him. Pete Capello is, what a great prospect he is, 6'5", 6'1", 190. He's 21 years of age. He's been out for the last week or so.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he is gone for the remainder of the season. He's got a rotator cuff problem. That's got to hurt. He was hitting .343 at the time of the injury. He got it while diving for a grounder, and as Pete told me, at least I made the play.
And of course, the Hagerstown Suns will be leading things off here in the top of the first. As the pitcher for the Virginia Generals, John Boyles, loosens up. John is 1-1 with a 1.23 ERA. Kind of a low ERA for this team.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. John just joined the team about 3 weeks ago. He's got a good curveball, good fastball. He mixes them up well. He likes to challenge the hitters, which is good. He's one of the better pitchers on the staff. Of course, his age, 28, has a lot to do with it. He's been pitching in the Carolina League for a while. He's a good pitcher, though.
Kevin Hall, our spotter tonight, told us our umpires are Jack McKeon, who'll be the home plate umpire. The first base umpire will be Cecil Mock, and the third base umpire will be Mitch Kiker. And we're about ready to start here. As you take a look at the Hagerstown Suns cage over there, and Virginia Generals trying to improve it to 4 games in a row. But as I mentioned, both teams are pretty hot from the last week or so.
It should be a pretty good pitcher's duel. Du Bois is pitching pretty good lately. Boyles is on a roll right now. We'll see what happens. Good pitching against hitting should always prevail.
That is always the case usually. And the Virginia Generals will be pitching first, and leading things off for the Hagerstown Suns is Don Buford, the second baseman. And Buford, son of a former major leaguer. As Terry mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, as you take a look at the pitcher, John Bull is ready to set things up, and we're underway from War Memorial Stadium.
High, ball one there.
As the first pitch is high for ball one on Buford, the second baseman. Right now at scenic War Memorial Stadium, Greg Picaveras along with Terry Armour, a doubleheader tonight here. Channel 29 bringing you the first game. And the pitch right there down the middle for a called strike. Count now even at 1 ball and 1 strike on Buford. Batting next will be Stryjek for the Hagerstown Suns. Hagerstown Suns won 3 out of the last 4 games, beat Kinston 7-3 last night.
Had several opportunities.
And it's a ground ball hit right by the second baseman. And Buford will be on first base safely right there as he gets a single to lead things off here at the top of the first.
Right by her.
And batting second,
Shot up. It's partially blocked.
right there as Don Buford got the single, will be Stryjek.
Buford, a good stolen base threat. He's got 27 stolen bases already. I think we can look for him to try to test Mr. Reese's arm.
Yes, sir. Randy Stryjek, who is 6'2", 175. He's 22 years of age, out of Schenectady, New York, will be batting second. He has had 3 hits. He's 4 of 17. He's been kind of on a good hitting streak lately in the Carolina League. And right now, with 1 on, ball throws back to the first baseman, Angel Morris. Angel Morris has been really playing well at first base lately, Terry.
Yeah, Angel Morris, his defense is solid. He's hitting the last 10 ball games. He's been on base almost each time runs have scored this last road stand. Angel's playing pretty good right now.
And the pitch right there was outside for a ball. As the sun is setting in tonight on this first day of June, Wednesday, June the 1st, just say no to drugs on Hampton City Schools Channel 29. As right now the count is 1 ball and no strikes. And getting a little hesitant there is Boyles as he throws it back to Angel Morris, making sure that the speedy Buford does not try to steal. He's been a pretty big man on bases this year. He's a threat to steal at any time, really.
27 stolen bases. The kid is fast.
He is fast, to say the least. As Boyles realizes that, and he throws it back to Morris as they're playing very cautiously so far in the top of the first.
Now the Mariners trailing by 6 have the basketball.
Hagerstown Suns
Remains in the first half.
have a 3-1 series over the Generals this year.
Feed it to Crystal Ridge.
And he takes a sign. Buford's going. The throw, not in time as he steals base number 28 on the year. Really no contest right there as Buford got to second like Flash Gordon, Terry.
Yes, he did. He got a good jump on the ball, and of course the throw wasn't that good toward the left of the bag. Sure, the guy's going to steal a base with a throw like that too, so what can you say?
Kyle Reese, the catcher. And when you look at this team last year for the Virginia Generals, a lot of them were playing in the Midwest League, the Gulf Coast. They've been all over the Florida State League, so they've really been all over the country showing their talents, and now they're having a chance to play for a co-op team in the Kansas City Royals organization as they play right here at War Memorial Stadium. It's a ground ball hit right to third. Should be an easy out, and it is, as Stryjek goes down, but Buford will remain on second. So Randy Stryjek goes out right there. As a third baseman right there, Luis Sorzino throws it to Angel Morris for the easy out. We have 1 out here in the top of the first. And it'll bring on Walt Harris, the center fielder. He has a 3-game hitting streak. Walt Harris, one of the key prospects for this team over the years. He's 24 years of age from Lodi, California, out in the West Coast. He's been brought up on good baseball over the years. Not the biggest player for an outfielder, but he's 6'1", 195 pounds. Buford's on second. And the first pitch is hooking foul, and it'll be strike 1. So the count now is 0-1 on Walt Harris. Beautiful night here for baseball as the fans enjoying the ball game here tonight.
Haven't had too much good weather here in Newport News, or I should say Hampton.
First day of June, and hopefully things will turn for the better here. As Buford is on second right now, and Walt Harris is at the plate. Boyles taking a cautious look at him, and the pitch is down low towards the dirt for a ball. The count now even at 1 ball and 1 strikes on Walt Harris.
You see Buford a little antsy over there on second base. Looks like he might be interested in taking third.
Now, interesting thing about Harris, he played 3 games for the San Diego Chargers during the season before the regulars came back during the strike-shortened season. And there goes Buford trying to get to third. And Reese did not even attempt to throw it to the third baseman right there, Terry.
Looked like he bobbled the ball a little bit. It was kind of low by Boyles. Good pitch to run on.
As Kyle Reese bobbled it a little bit, as we saw. And Luis Sorzina, the third baseman, just stood there helplessly. As right now, a man on third in scoring position. The count still is 2 balls and 1 strikes on Walt Harris.
Long fly, bring this guy in. He's got the wheels to score.
Certainly does, and the power as well. As you take a look at John Boyles, the pitch, it's outside for ball, and count now is 3-1. That has been a big problem with the pitchers this year. Is a good word, as Janet Jackson would say, is control, and that really has been the problem for the pitching staff of the Virginia Generals this year, is basically control and placement, Terry.
Yeah, that's true. The Virginia Generals have walked 256 batters. They lead the Carolina League in walks. As you see, Boyles just walks Mr. Harris, so it's men on first and third now.
And David Segui will come up right now for the Hagerstown Suns. He played at Kent State University. David Segui, infielder, 6'1", 175 pounds. He'll be 22 this coming July. He's from Kansas City, so he's going against a team that he saw growing up as a youngster.
You have much success against when you get
kind of a
Phoebus defense this year?
Good way to brag home to Mom and say I defeated on the Kansas City Royals lore team, Mom.
Yeah, that's something you want to brag about.
What about the Warriors?
Certainly the case. Of course, I mentioned the Royals won the World Series in 1985, as David was probably in high school at the time. So we have a man on first and third. The runner stays as the ball goes down in the dirt. The count now to be ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes, as man on first is Walt Harris, and Buford is on third.
It's kind of surprising. Boyles usually has pretty good control, especially early in a game, and he's throwing a lot of balls. A lot of balls are going in the dirt there.
His ERA is less than 1.3. It's 1.23 on the year. And the pitch right there, check swing. It's a strike, as Segui really did not know whether to swing or not, and he had the benefit of the doubt, but it went against him this time, as was a strike right there. As the count now is 1 ball and 1 strikes. Man on first and third. Great opportunity right now for a double play for the Generals to get out of it. That'll be the big question. Can they get out of it?
It's been a big question most of the year. Can they get out of the jams?
Right up on top, but what people don't realize is that she does a lot of things.
So the man on first and third.
She plays real good defense against,
and Segui takes the pitch. It's one deep into right field. There coming the right fielder for the Generals is Tom Johnson to make the catch, so it's out number 2. So that's an easy 1-2 right there. Segui goes out, but right now coming up next will be Dave Bettendorf for the Hagerstown Suns. And Bettendorf, who is 22 years of age, from Chillicothe, Ohio, from the Midwest. 6 foot, 190 pounds, solid player for the year.
Mike, good luck to you. Thanks very much. All right, Tim and Bob.
As a sacrifice fly did not work in that last play, as we have 2 out right now, man on first. As Bettendorf will try to put him in scoring position. Here's a pitch, and it's a throw out to the catcher, trying to make sure that Harris does not try to steal, as Bettendorf is at the plate right now.
Yeah, Harris is another stolen base threat. He's got 39 on the year. Wouldn't be too surprising if he took off, even if it is 2 outs.
As right now, man on first, here's a pitch by Boyles, and he throws it out once again to Kyle Reese.
Yeah, on each pitch out there, Greg, it didn't even look like Mr. Harris was going anywhere. So Mr. Boyles a little upset with himself. He's in the hole now, 0-2.
Bettendorf, as I mentioned, leading the team at batting at .269. This team only has 9 home runs throughout the year, but he has 2 of them, so he's a threat to hit the long ball. And he hits one into left field. It's hooking, going past the grandstand. And one of the pitchers in the bullpen make the catch, but that won't count.
Especially if it's the pitcher for the other team.
Exactly. So too bad there for Virginia. They couldn't have added an extra play on that time. As the count now is 2 balls and 1 strikes on Bettendorf. The man on first and Walt Harris. Good opportunity right now for the Generals to try to get out of the inning with only 1 run against them. But we'll see if they can only manage it to that. It's 2 balls, 1 strikes, 2 outs here in the top half of the first inning. Score is 1-0. Hagerstown leading over Virginia. And the pitch is up high for a ball. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strikes on Bettendorf.
Boyles is throwing a lot of balls to Bettendorf. Try to say that fast 3 times. Great.
Oh boy, and Bettendorf, of course, the designated hitter on the team this year. Multi-talented player, could also play in the outfield as well, but he's been pretty consistent at the DH level, and manager Mike Hart has kept him there because he's the leading person in hitting as well as home runs with 2. And he pops one into left field once again. It'll be a foul. So the count now is at full at 3 balls and 2 strikes as you take a look at Bettendorf right there, getting his position on the bat.
Well, if Mr. Boyles strikes him out right now, he should be happy only giving up 1 run in his first inning.
Certainly is the case, as Boyles would try to salvage that if he can, because he's facing the heart of the lineup right now with Bettendorf, Voigt coming up. And the runner goes, and it's a belt right down to the second baseman. Right there back to Angel Morris as flanked Laureano throws it out to Morris to retire the side. So 1 run, 1 hit, and no errors in the top half of the first inning. The Hagerstown Suns go down with 1 run, and they lead the Generals 1-0. As we go to the bottom of the first, and Virginia lucky to come out with only 1 run against him, Terry, as we mentioned.
Yeah, I think one indication that Boyles is throwing a lot of balls is the fact that Bettendorf fouled off a lot of balls over to the left field side. He's got to get the ball in a little bit, keep it low, but keep it on that outside corner. It looks like that's what he's trying to do, but he's not succeeding. He's pretty lucky to get out the inning with just 1 run.
And as we have time for a break, it's Fashion Care Cleaners. Michael Southern, the manager, located in Langley Square. He does the best dry cleaning around in the Hampton area, right in Langley Square. As you get off the interstate, you can't miss Fashion Care Cleaners. Go about a mile past the Coliseum Mall, and you can't miss it right in Langley Square. Good shopping center there, grocery store there, as you can't miss Fashion Care Cleaners. The manager there is Michael Southern. For the best dry cleaning on the peninsula, there's only one place. That's Fashion Care Cleaners.
And listen to Gray, because I take all my clothes to Fashion Care, of course, and they do a good job.
They certainly do. As the Virginia Generals right now trying to make it 4 games in a row, as you take a look at the dugout there for the Generals, the trainer, manager Joe Breeden. Hagerstown tomorrow here again, June the 2nd, 7:30 p.m. But we have a doubleheader first to get through tonight. And batting now and leading things off for the Virginia Generals will be the center fielder, Kent Headley. And Kent has been playing very well lately. He is 6 of 24 of his last 24 at-bats. He's batting .417, so a good position to have something started off right now in the first inning, Terry.
The Generals had Andre Ford, who had been playing center field. He was in the leadoff spot most of the season. He started to slump. They put Headley in there. Headley gets on base.
As the first pitch from Hagerstown, and Brian Dubois, who's 3-5, got his last win against Prince William last Thursday night, as I mentioned. Pitched a 1-hitter. This is the ace of the bullpen right here for the Hagerstown Suns, the left-hander.
It'll be interesting to see how Dubois does against his former teammates. Will they win the battle? Do they know it's pitching, or does he know they're hitting? It's interesting to see right now.
Count now is 1 ball and 1 strike on Ken Headley. He's batting .288 on the year, so he's one of the leaders on this Virginia team as the pitch is down low for a ball. Count now is 2 balls and 1 strikes on Headley. Headley last year was playing in Appleton, where he only batted .230 in the Midwest League, but he didn't score any home runs. As he grounds one right to the shortstop, throws it to first in time for the out.
Good play.
As a ground rule right there, and he gets him. But The Hagerstown Suns, one of the better fielding teams in the Carolina League as well. And Stu Cole, the shortstop, will be batting second. Stu has been pretty consistent for most of the 88 year, Terry.
Yeah, Stu had arthroscopic knee surgery earlier this season. He missed about 25 games. Got back in there, took over the shortstop position from Luis Corsino, and he's playing some ball.
Stu Cole batting .266 as he takes the first pitch for a ball one. As you take a good look at Brian Dubois, the pitcher for the Hagerstown Suns. He's 3-5 with a 4.68 ERA. And Cole fouls one back to the right side, going probably to the parking lot there. As the count now even at 1 ball and 1 strike.
That ball just missed my car, Greg.
You have any insurance on that, Terry?
No, it's uninsured, too.
And here comes the pitch from the left-hander, the stretch.
Ooh.
And he smokes one right by Cole, and the count now is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Cole will step out and take a look at the signs from manager Joe Breeden coaching over there at third base.
Stu Cole in the Kansas City, one of the original players on this team. Played for Eugene last year. He's only 22 years of age. As he hits one right up the middle, should be a base hit, but the second baseman throws it not in time. And Cole, with his lightning speed, beats out the throw there.
Don Buford tried. He got his uniform dirty once again and just couldn't get him.
Buford, not as good as Ozzie Smith, but I tell you, on any given play, he can make the superb catch and put out. And Stu Cole right there gets on first base safe to rule that a hit, so both teams now have a hit. As batting now for the Generals, the designated hitter, Derek Ladnier. Derek, the DH for most of the year for the Generals. As Dubois throws it back to the first baseman, David Segway. On the year, Ladnier is batting at .228. He has 3 home runs, however, and it's a bunt fouled back, and it'll be a strike, so the count now is no balls and 1 strike on Ladnier. Stu Cole on first base, and Frank Laureano will be batting next at second base for the Generals.
Stu Cole's got 4 stolen bases since coming back into the lineup. He's just getting that knee to the point where he can run like he was running before the injury.
And right there for the Generals, Ladnier takes the pitch up high for a ball 1, so the count now is 1 ball and 1 strikes on Ladnier. Stu Cole, as he mentioned, from Charlotte, North Carolina, went to UNC Charlotte, drafted in round 3 last year. He's a good all-around athlete, Terry. He plays basketball, he swims, and plays tennis, so really sounds like a Bo Jackson possibly there. As you know, Kansas City Royals have Bo Jackson. He also plays for the LA Raiders as well, and Stu Cole, a very versatile athlete from Charlotte, North Carolina, who's on first base right now. The left-hander makes the stretch, and right there, Ladnier hits one into left field, going back to center field to make the catch for the Hagerstown Suns is Walt Harris to put down 1 here in the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, Cole was all the way at second base, getting ready to make that turn for third base. He got back pretty fast.
And Cole did not want to put another out there as Frank Laureano, who is the second baseman tonight.
Laureano, who's 4 for 15 since joining the team in Lynchburg on that last road trip. It's got to feel good to have him back, although I don't know how good he feels about being sent back down to the Generals from the team in Baseball City, the Royals team in Baseball City, Florida.
As Laureano takes the first pitch high for ball 1. That's what happens in the minor leagues, a lot of shifting around, Terry, and the ball players are accustomed to that until they get to the major leagues. And even then, they switch around as well.
Right.
Laureano takes the second pitch for a ball, so the count now is 2 balls and no strikes. A good opportunity right now for him to get on first. As Dubois getting behind the count, uncharacteristic of him, especially in his last couple of starts. He's been so hot, one of the key players for Hagerstown. As Dubois throws it, and it's a fly ball hitting to center field, and right there for the easy put out is Walt Harris. So the Generals' threat right there halts immediately as Laureano pops it up to center field. and Harris makes the catch. So we played one complete inning. The Virginia Generals have one hit, one man left on base, and no errors with the score. Hagerstown 1 and the Generals 0. Terry, the Virginia Generals right now going to a kind of a crucial stretch as far as the first half of the season is concerned. They want to get out of it kind of respectable. Of course, they're 12-39. Their 51 games have been played so far in just basically 2 months, but they can still almost get to 25 wins if they play subpar from the rest of the half.
Yes, if you asked any of these guys on the team, including Joe Breeden, in the midst of that 15-game losing streak, would they be happy with 25 games? I'm pretty sure everyone would say, yeah, we'd be pretty happy with 25 wins. A 15-game losing streak will take a lot out of you. And when you become sort of the laughing stock of the league, you got to try to gain some respectability, and hopefully winning some games now will do that for them.
That is pretty realistic as well. They have plenty of games left. And the Generals opening up a big stretch here with the Hagerstown Suns in the Northern Division. Hagerstown defeated Kinston last night. And of course, Virginia Generals defeating the Lynchburg Red Sox as well, winning a 3-game series up in Lynchburg, Virginia. Right now the score 1-0, and leading things off here in the top of the second inning for the Hagerstown Suns. As you take a look at a couple of youngsters there with their father enjoying the ballpark here tonight. Carolina League Baseball. John Boyle still on the mound for the Virginia Generals. And the batting right now will be Jack Voigt, the right fielder. Played at LSU the last 2 years in the Southeastern Conference, and when you think about some of the better teams in the NCAA playoffs, LSU is always up there, along with Miami and, of course, James Madison and Virginia Commonwealth and George Mason, all for Virginia making the NCAA playoffs this year in baseball. But LSU usually up there year in and year out. And Jack Voigt, the right fielder for the Hagerstown Suns, has been a big part of that, batting at .217 this year.
Yeah, he leads the club in homers with 3. The Hagerstown only has 9 homers. Voigt's got 3, and of course Mr. Bettendorf has 2. They're not really a power hitting team. They rely on what they did in the first inning. Get a man on base, steal a base, get him around, get him to score.
The count now is even at 1 ball and 1 strikes on Voigt. Batting next for Hagerstown right now as he hits a ground ball right down the third base line, and he'll be safely on first. Does not decide to go to second, but a nice hit there by Voigt as he tries to raise his batting average up. Coming into the ball game, he was only batting at .217. And batting next for the Hagerstown Suns,
Tim Brown up for the Suns.
And Terry Brown is batting at .156, the lowest on the team in 24 games. He has 64 at-bats, 13 runs, 10 hits. But he has a home run. So the home runs spread out pretty much this year for the Hagerstown Suns. A really big, powerful team last year, winning the division.
Whoa.
As Brown belts one into right field. But right there, the right fielder for the Generals makes the catch, Tom Johnson.
Nice little shoe-top catch there by Johnson. You can always rely on one thing when you see the Generals play, and that's that Tom Johnson's going to make some good plays out there in right field.
And that ball had some topspin on it, too, as well, as Terry Brown, who had 1 home run, was a threat to hit it out into the outfield as he throws his hat down disgustedly. That was quite an athletic move by Tom Johnson, the right fielder for the Virginia Generals. So batting now for the Hagerstown Suns will be Louis Polino, the catcher. He played some last year in '86, batting .213 on the year, as he takes the first pitch for strike 1. Kind of a pitcher's duel so far, Terry. Only 2 hits for Hagerstown and 1 hit for Virginia.
Kind of early to tell, though. We'll see in a couple innings down the road.
We'll wait and see. Has a man on first, and Bowles goes back to Morris to make sure that Jack Voigt does not try to steal. On the year, Voigt has 10 stolen bases. He's third on the team behind Don Buford and Walt Harris as well. On the pitch, right back to the pitcher and through the second baseman. And Louis Polino, the catcher, rounds first base safely, and he advances Jack Voigt to second. So we have a runner on first and second right now. As we go toward the bottom of the lineup, Bobby Lattimore, the third baseman, played for about 9 games for the Hagerstown Suns in 1985, was living in Miami for 2 years. Didn't really enjoy that experience that much. But he came back now to a team he played with 3 years ago, trying to get a shot back up in the higher organization of the Baltimore Orioles.
Bobby Lattimore, another guy with yet 1 home run on this Hagerstown team. I guess power is not the name of the game with the Suns.
He's only batting .230 on the year as he takes the first pitch for a strike one. Fans in the background kind of raising their voices about that call in disgust.
They thought it was a strike on that inside corner, but who are they to judge? They're not behind the plate.
The fans, a very important part here at the ballpark, enjoying Carolina League baseball for so many years. As we right now have a runner on first and second, John Bull is kind of in a jam. And the ball right there, right down the middle for a strike, so the count now is even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Boyles does have a pretty wicked curveball once it gets going.
Yes, it does. Wait to see him in around the 5th, 6th inning if he lasts that long. That's where it really starts moving.
Lattimore, the third baseman for this Hagerstown Suns team. Here's a pitch by Boyles.
Tried that curveball again, this time a little low.
So the count now is 2-1 on Lattimore, and Buford, who got a stolen base his first time, is on deck for the Hagerstown Suns, the second baseman. Almost made that catch. As we count now is 2 balls and 1 strike, 1 out here in the top half of the second inning, along with Terry Armour. I'm Greg Bicaveras. Hope you're enjoying all the action here on Channel 29.
Well, if they're not Greg, I certainly am.
It's been a great day so far. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Once Boyles gets hot, it's really hard to stop him. And the Royals always looking for young talent down in the minor leagues. And Boyles could be the answer in a couple of years. As the count right now is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The deuces are wild on Lattimore. The runner on first and second. Nobody out, though. We'll see if Boyles can get the best of them right here. And the stretch. And it's fouled back by the Hagerstown bullpen as the bat boy retrieves it. And the count now remains the same at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Lattimore.
One out, man on first and second. Let's see if they'll be going with this pitch.
Lattimore for the Hagerstown Suns is trying to get his way back up into the higher organization of the Baltimore Orioles. He's from Altamonte Springs, Florida. He's only 22 years old, but he's been through a lot in the last 3 or 4 years as the catcher, Reese, throws it back to Morris.
Just does get in.
That's a great shot there by our cameraman as they take a good look. Doing a great job here tonight at War Memorial Stadium.
It makes you feel like you're out there looking at these monitors.
It really does. It brings it right close to the viewer at home. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, we know they'll definitely be going on this pitch.
Lattimore and Boyles going in a pitching batting duel right now. Here's the pitch, and the runner goes, fouled back, and right now he's trying to get back to home, but he decides not to. Reese, not hesitant, throws to third to Sorzino, but not before a runner advances to second and third, Terry.
I don't know what he's arguing. It looked like it was a ball. The umpire is saying that he swung at the pitch. Well, I don't know, but the runners did advance. I guess he did his job. He just didn't do it in the way he wanted to do it.
So Lattimore, after playing catch right there with Boyles, finally goes out and bringing up right now the ever so dangerous Donnie Buford. Donnie Buford Jr., the son of a former major leaguer. He's 22 years of age from Sherman Oaks, California. 5'10", 170. And he reminds me of Al Bumbry and some of the other former players that played in this Baltimore Orioles organization. A great, consistent player. Pretty consistent batter as well.
Well, if he's anything like Al Bumbry or anything like his father right now, he's got eyes for that right field line, which they're giving him.
And the Baltimore Orioles are always looking down. Of course, Buford's father played for the Orioles back in the 1960s. Just like Ken Griffey and his son right now, both playing in the professional baseball ranks. A lot of good combinations out there. There's a strike one right there. As the count now is 0-2, and a good time to get ahead of the batter right now is John Boyles.
That's right. See what he can do right here.
And right now the count 0-2. 2 outs here. Top half of the second inning.
Well, if he gets out of this jam, it's got to do wonders with his head. He's got to be thinking, well, I can pitch out of some jams now. He's getting in them, but he's got to get out of them, I guess I should say.
Certainly that is the case as he gets a little erratic right there and throws it up high for ball one. Count now is 1-2 on Don Buford Jr., second baseman. One of the more consistent players for the Hagerstown Suns this year. Although his batting averages does not show it, his speed on the bases definitely does once he gets on, and he really is very consistent as far as stealing bases are concerned. As he just fouls one back over the grandstands, the count now remains even at 1-2.
Boyles trying for that outside corner again. Buford got some, just did get the bat on it, fouled it off.
1 run, 3 hits, no errors for Hagerstown. 0, 1, and 0 for the Virginia Generals. They got 1 hit. That came back in the first inning. And Boyles right now trying to get himself out of the jam. We have a runner on second and third and only 1 out. And Boyles takes a side to stretch.
Ooh.
That could have gone either way.
That's right.
Could have gone either way, and it'll be a strike. As the count now is even at 2-2 on Don Buford Jr. Buford really did not hesitate or argue about that call because it was really close on that one, Terry.
That was close. That was a good pitch by Boyles. It looks like he's trying to get into that groove we talked about earlier.
As home plate umpire Jack McKeon, right behind the bases right there. Usually about 3 umpires in the Carolina League. Sometimes there's less, but depending on the doubleheader, there's usually more. As Boyles steps off the mound right there, trying to throw it to third base, but decides not to. He does not want to keep his third baseman guessing. But with a runner on second and third, with only 1 out, you can never tell.
Fouls it just overhead. It just missed Robert Fish up there, I would assume.
Yeah, missed the press box up there. Sports writers from the Daily Press. Of course, Terry is sports writer for the Daily Press from Chicago. How you like it your first year out here in the Peninsula, Terry?
Well, aside from the fact that it seems to rain every time I look out my window, I think I can handle it.
And of course, we've had a monsoon this year in the Peninsula, and we're trying to get rid of that right now, but the weather looks very promising for summer baseball here at War Memorial Stadium.
Well, it's amazing how many games here at War Memorial Stadium were affected by the rain, as Buford fouls it right off the catcher.
At least 8 or 9, I could say.
At least 8 or 9. How many games? Well, for instance, this is a doubleheader for the simple reason that the first game against Hagerstown was rained out. Rain, go away, come again some other day. I think Ernest Hemingway said that, didn't he?
Oh, the book of quotes as we go into them. And as we're mentioning, the pitcher Boyles was in a pitching duel with Bobby Latmore, the third baseman. Now he's in the same thing with Buford right now. And he takes the pitch, and Buford hits one into left field, going over the head, but making the backhanded catch right there is Andre Ford. And Andre Ford right there puts away any chance of advancing any runners. And once again, Boyles gets out of the jam there.
Yeah, he's getting out of the jams, but he can't rely on that too much. These guys are getting runners in scoring position, and you don't want to do that because sooner or later, a ball like that was well hit. Sooner or later, a ball's going to fall in.
And right now, the score as we finish The top half of the second inning, the Hagerstown Suns leading it 1-0 over the Virginia Generals. Both teams playing pretty hot lately. Virginia, who at one time this year lost 15 consecutive games, and at one point last month, they only won 3 times in the month of May. So really, any win right now will be good for the Virginia Generals, and really Joe Breeden has to be happy about that, the 3-game winning streak.
Well, Breeden has pointed things out to me since the beginning of the season, or I should say since during the streak. As long as the team keeps playing and keeps going out there and playing hard, he's sure that sooner or later the wins are going to come in.
And right now we have a commercial break. Shaw's TV and Appliances, located on Warwick Boulevard. They have the best prices in town for your appliances. Contact Ray Golding at 599-4411 and come by Shaw's today. They're located on 9905 Warwick Boulevard. They have washers, dryers, refrigerators, microwaves, and much more at very reasonable prices right in the Hilton Shopping Center, right across the street from the Hilton Shopping Center. As a fan looks on right now at War Memorial Stadium, kind of wondering where this team will go in 1988. And batting right now for the Virginia Generals will be Angel Morris. And Morris takes the first pitch for ball 1.
Morris is the hottest hitter on the Generals right now. He has a 10-game hitting streak going on, which he's batting .371. I saw something interesting, speaking of playing hard. Angel Morris, the day that the Generals finally broke that streak, leaped on second base, literally, trying to stretch a single into a double, and almost knocked himself out. And he said, hey, I just wanted to get in scoring position. I wanted to score. We needed runs.
And Angel Morris, a very big first baseman, looks like the physique of a Balboni who played for the Kansas City Royals. And he can hit the ball too. As Terry mentioned, he's 13 of 35 in his last 35 at-bats, batting at .371. So when you want a man to get a quick run, it's probably Angel Morris. As right there, as I mentioned, he hits a line drive into center field, and Morris will be on first base for the Generals' second hit of the ball game. They have not scored a run, but they have 2 hits. And right now, the right fielder batting right now will be Tom Johnson, who made that catch back last inning to halt any further runs by the Hagerstown Suns. And Tom Johnson, the right fielder for the Virginia Generals. Johnson on the year is batting at .233 as he lines one right by the first base umpire, and he literally had to leap up in the air, unless he would have got hit in the leg, and he would not have liked that.
Hey, you think Tom was gunning for him?
Possibly. To get it back for that last series at Hagerstown. As Tom Johnson right now is having counted 0-1 against him. One of the more steady pitchers, Brian Dubois, still in there, the left-hander, 3 and 4. He's not allowed to run yet. His ERA, though, is 4.68, but can try to get it down tonight. As Johnson fouls one back up into the tarps, the count to be now is 0-2.
Double dribble charge to Tara McLean.
Yeah, this has got to be the largest crowd at War Memorial Stadium, at least. It's got to be. I would almost bet my last nickel in my pocket that it's the largest crowd at War Memorial Stadium all year.
Our sponsors had some of the tickets, and I hope they came out to the ball game tonight. Shaw's TV and Appliances, as I mentioned, located on Warwick Boulevard. They have the best appliances around, microwaves and TVs.
There you see on the...
You can contact Ray Golding at 599-4411, and he'll get you the best refrigerator in town.
I need a new refrigerator. You think you can hold the fort while I go give him a call?
I tell you one thing, you can put some ice Cokes in there and just relax, and you can buy the best appliances at Shaw's TV and Appliances on Warwick Boulevard. The count now is 1 ball and 2 strikes. On time, Johnson.
That is her fourth.
And he takes a pitch up high for a ball. The count now even is 2-2.
Less than 5.5 minutes to go in the ball game.
Angel Morris, who's been batting so well lately, is on first base for the Generals. Morris, his batting average is .267, right behind Pete Capello, but of course Capello has been on the disabled list, will probably miss the rest of the season. As the pitch right there is inside for ball 3. So the count now is 3 balls and 2 strikes on Thomas Johnson.
I don't think Morris is going anywhere.
The Winter Olympics.
Morris not exactly a threat to steal at any time. In fact, Morris
has no stolen
bases, so he probably will not steal. But regardless, Dubois throws it back to the first baseman.
Maybe talk to Du Bois before the game and said, "Hey, Doobie, I'm still on a base on you, man."
Oh boy, we'll see if he can do it tonight. Anything can happen. The count now is 3 balls and 2 strikes. The runner might go, and the ball is hit deep into right field. Moving over to the center field line is Walt Harris to make the catch. But Tom Johnson showing his strength out there, Terry, as he can definitely hit it way out as well.
He got it. It was a pitch that he could drive, and okay.
Take a break for a second. Tell us when to come back on.
As Corsino takes a strike right there. 0-2 on him from Brian Dubois.
Corsino on the year. He's from Fort Myers, played last year. He's 21 years of age, 5'11", 160. In the Kansas City organization, one of the original players. The count now is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Along with Terry Armour, this is Greg Bicaveras here at War Memorial Stadium. The first time a game has been televised and is being done on Channel 29, the Hampton City School Station, as the pitcher Dubois throws it to second, and it's not in time for the double play, but he does get out Angel Morris. But this right there, but we have a man on first, and bringing up right now for the Virginia Generals.
Looks like Dubois hesitated for a second, waiting for Strijek to get over there to cover the bag, and then he threw the ball kind of low. That might have had something to do with Mr. Corsino making it to first base.
Corsino, the third baseman, on first base right now, and Kyle Reese, the catcher. Kyle Reese, one of the better catchers on this team. 6 foot, 185 pounds, hits one into left field, and he'll be around first base for a single. And right now we have a runner on first and second with nobody out, so the Generals right now are in good position to do some runs on the scoreboard right now. Both teams having 3 hits. The Generals have not scored a run. 0 runs, 3 hits, no errors. And for Hagerstown, they lead it 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. And batting right now for the Generals,
Andre Ford. Of course, you know, Andre Ford has been struggling of late. He was batting over 300, one of the only players on the team to be batting over 300, but in the losing streak, he had one stretch when he was 4 for 44. Ouch.
Andre Ford, the left fielder, very promising person in this organization, as he has right now has a chance to score a 3-run homer with 1 shot at the bat. Ford on the year is batting .259. He's played now in 46 games, but he has 2 home runs, so he can definitely hit the long ball anytime. He takes a pitch right there for a strike. Count now is 0-2, no balls and 2 strikes on Andre Ford. And on deck is Kent Headley, the center fielder. Ford, 6 foot, 270 pounds. He's only 20 years of age, but he strikes out right there to retire the side. So Andre Ford goes down on strikes, and so do the Generals. They get out of the inning. They had a man on first and second, so 2 runs on 1 hit, no errors. The score remains the same. It's the Hagerstown Suns 1, the Virginia Generals 0.
Gee, Greg, I don't think any runs scored that inning, buddy.
Nothing scored, and
well,
that's what hurts the most. And the Generals have had a lot of players on scoring position throughout the year, but the big minus point has been advancing them to home plate, Terry.
That's true. You know, when you add the fact that the Generals lead the league in errors, I think the Generals have 108 errors. When you count that plus pitching, which hasn't been that good, and the fact that you get runners in scoring position, you can't get them home, what's that going to add up to but a 15-game losing streak?
And right now for another commercial, Ames Tuxedos, located on Newmarket South Shopping Center. That's where Terry Armour is dressed in tonight from Ames Tuxedos. And their number is 245-5577. They both rent and sell the best tuxedos in town, whether it's a casual night out, a big dinner party, a wedding, or an engagement. the best place to go is Newmarket South Shopping Center and talk to Chris Ames at Ames Tuxedos. They have the best prices in town, the best tuxedos in town, any color you want. I tell you one thing, you go out on a casual evening out with your girlfriend and you'll look like $1 million. And you can say you've been to Ames Tuxedos.
Ames Tuxedos, yes. You know, this tuxedo that you alluded to a few moments ago is the best tuxedo I've ever had, and I think they're great, especially out at the ballpark, Greg.
It feels kind of warm on a night like this, doesn't it, Terry?
Yes, it does. I gotta loosen up this tie.
Right now, as we go toward the top of the third inning, the Virginia Generals still trailing 1-0. As you take a look at a youngster looking on as he's enjoying his night out in the ballpark. The first pitch is for a strike.
A lot of kids out here with those Say No to Drugs t-shirts on. And I guess that's pretty appropriate since it is Say No to Drugs night, huh?
Yes, sirree, as Randy Stryjek takes the first pitch for a strike. Boyle's still going strong. He squares for a bunt and fouls it back, so the count now is 0-2 on Randy Stryjek. 6'2", 175 pounds, 22 years of age, from New York. Stryjek on the year for the Hagerstown Suns is batting at .263, and he has no home runs, but he does have 18 RBIs.
John Boyles, who has, up until this game, had only walked 3 batters the whole season.
So it'll be Stryjek right now for the Hagerstown Suns going against John Boyles. Virginia didn't get out of that inning with a run, but they had runners in scoring position. And as I mentioned, Stryjek hits a line drive to the right field line, and he gets a hit for the ball game. Stryjek improving his batting average right now for the Hagerstown Suns. How's he doing on the night, Terry?
He's 1 for 2. He grounded out in the first inning. But the guy can hit. I mean, he's going to hit the ball sometime. It just happened to be where someone wasn't, Greg. Isn't that always the story?
That certainly is the case. And in this year, it has been the case for the Virginia Generals. But fans, please come out to the ballpark here and support the team, as Channel 29 brings you the ball game here tonight. As the first pitch to Walt Harris, the center fielder, is down the middle, right down the gap for a strike.
You know, I challenge fans. I challenge you right here, right now, for every fan that comes out to the stadium. Dave Johnson of the Daily Press will give you $1 out of his own pocket. That's how much he wants people here.
Dave Johnson and, of course, Bob Moskowitz, who has been writing for the Daily Press for several years, covered this team, and Terry Armour, now the beat writer for the Virginia Generals, joining me in the booth tonight.
And having a good time, Greg.
It really has been a wonderful time. We've enjoyed every minute of it here on Channel 29. So right now the count is 0-1, and it's hit deep into left center field, and it's down in the gap, and it'll be a stand-up double for Walt Harris as he hits one into the opposite field right there. And right now, with the runner on second and third, Stryjek is on third base, and Walt Harris is on second for the Hagerstown Suns. And right now, the pitching dynamics of John Boyles have kind of faltered the last couple of pitches, Terry.
It's the same as in every inning. You got men in scoring position again. He's got to try to pitch his way out of a jam right now, and that's why Kyle Reese is out there talking to him. He's trying to play with the corners, and they're going with the pitches here. We'll see what happens after the talk.
And we'll see if Kyle Reese, the catcher, of course, speaking of catchers, Johnny Bench played back here.
No, not Johnny
In the
Bench.
1960s, yes, sirree. Gary Carter. So Kyle Reese trying to follow the same footsteps. Gary Carter now a very successful catcher with the New York Mets. Played with the Montreal Expos back in the early 80s. And Carter played here in 1973 for Peninsula. The names go on and on. They were the Dodgers
Whoa.
at one time.
Oh my.
Right
oh
there,
my.
it's away deep right field, and it's
Ooh, I think that
a
is
home run.
officially a home run. No.
No, it's not, as it goes over the top of the field, but you can almost say it is. As right there is a man on third base, and not a home run, but 2 runners score right there.
He got that pitch in his wheelhouse. Man, he tagged it. I thought it was a home run from here.
And this time the luck did not turn out on the fate for John Boyles, as A triple right there by the Hagerstown Suns. And right now, a little discussion at second base right now between the second base umpire, Mitch Kiker.
Well, you pitch your way out of a jam a couple in, and sooner or later it's going to get to you. When you get men in scoring position, somebody's going to score.
And batting now for the Hagerstown Suns. Coming up right there. As the score right now is 3-0.
As
David Bettendorf will be batting next.
Sorry about that, Greg. You see some action in the Virginia Generals bullpen over there. I can't see who it is from this vantage point, but I guess it's safe to say it's a reliever, huh?
Yes, sir. Mike Hart, the manager for the Hagerstown Suns, thought that was a home run. In fact, the third base umpire called it a home run, but then he changed his mind. So a little discussion right there. Could have been more runs for the Suns, but in turn it's not. And right there, Bettendorf hits one, a line drive right to left field, and Andra Ford throws it back to the second baseman, but not before another run scores in for the Hagerstown Suns. And right now, the path is starting to clear away for the Suns as they lead at 4-0. Terry, as Boyles might be seeing his last inning of pitching right here.
I think he might be. Boyles, that curveball's not working. I keep mentioning, I know the fans out there are saying, gee, Terry, why don't you mention it one more time? He's working with the corners, and they're going with the pitches. It's just not happening for John tonight. Du Bois should be able to pitch pretty good with the 4-run lead right now.
And as the umpire right there calls home time, as Kyle Reese and the pitching coach, Buddy Mercaro, comes on out. And the Generals will be going to probably a pitching change, but Joe Breeden has not gone to it yet. As Jim Chesna, an independent, 5'10", 172 pounds, the left fielder, was warming up. His birthday is tomorrow. He'll be 21 years of age tomorrow. Jack McKeon, the umpire, going out to the mound to make sure everything is okay, as they're going to decide to keep Boyles in there. Terry, is that a wise decision right now?
I don't know. You can never second guess a manager, and at least I try not to, because you never know what's going on in a manager's head, or in a pitching coach for that matter. I think they want to let him try to pitch out of the jam. Well, I guess it's too late to say pitch out of a jam since 3 runs have scored. Might as well leave him in there.
And Jack Voigt, the right fielder, 21 years of age, from Venice, Florida. Number 37, as you take a good look at him right there. And Boyles decides he's going to be in there. And pitch right there is down low for a ball. The count now is 1 ball and no strikes on Voigt.
Voigt singled to left field his last time up.
He played at LSU, Southeastern Conference. Pretty good farm bed for baseball over the years. Schools like Florida and Kentucky. LSU, one of the better teams in the Southeastern Conference, as the pitch is outside for a ball. Count now is 2-0, and Boyles right now having control problems here in the 3rd inning.
Well, Bob, I'm really looking forward to this game.
So, score now is 4-0. The Generals trailing in the 3rd, as Jack Voigt, Terry Brown, and Louis Polino, who got a monster shot his first time up, will be batting in the next 2 positions, as right there, a curveball for a strike, and the count now is 2 balls and 1 strikes on Jack Voigt. Virginia Generals and the Hagerstown Suns right here on Channel 29. Look at some of the leading statistics in the Carolina League this year. Hagerstown is just about up there in every position as you take a look at Boyles throwing it back to Angel Morris to make sure that Bettendorf does not try to steal. Bettendorf can steal, however, as he showed it this year for the Suns. There's a pitch right there in the dirt.
You kind of see Boyles drop his head after that pitch. He knows he's not pitching the way he's capable of pitching right now, and he might be a little touched right now.
He's a little shaken up the last couple of plays. He got out of the first couple innings basically with only 1 run against him, but this last inning has taken its toll on him for the most part, as he's allowed 3 runs, and they've been pretty costly runs as well, almost a home run. As the score now 4-0, 4-7-0. Hagerstown's got 7 hits. The Generals have 3. As we're coming to you live from War Memorial Stadium.
This is Scott Hamilton. Check that, Steve Hamilton.
As a ground ball hit the third baseline dugout. The count now, Terry, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And a position like this, we might see an attempt right here to hit a line drive out into the third baseline or something, maybe a bunt to try to advance the runner here in this inning.
Anything's possible right now, but Boyles isn't really pitching that well. They might lay off the pitch and wait for a ball. That's what he's been throwing. Let's see what happens to this batter right here, Greg.
And the runner goes, and he's trying to make it to second. The throw
He's out of there.
is in time, and a beautiful play right there as Kyle Reese connected to flank Laureano. And Terry, as we mentioned the first time, Reese tried to throw it to Laureano, but his reflections were a tad bit slow. But that time, a perfect combination from the catcher to the second baseman.
He got him, especially with the jump that he got on the pitch. I'm pretty surprised that he got him like that. Good throw by Reese.
And a good sigh of relief right there for John Boyles as well, as he got out of that without possibly a run being scored. A clean slate right now for Boyles as he goes against Terry Brown, the shortstop. A monstrous swing, and it's a strike. So the count now is 0-1 on Terry Brown, 6 foot, 180 pounds, out of Berkeley, California. Several players on this team are from the West Coast. Hagerstown does have Chris Pinder, however, from Yorktown, Virginia. He played against Kevin Brooks, who's not playing tonight for the Virginia Generals.
Kevin Brooks, yet another one of the Virginia Generals' hottest hitters right now. He was 4 for 6 the day before yesterday. Scored 2 runs for the Generals. Local product from York High School.
And Pinder played at Tabb High School in the York River District. So a little bit of a local flair here at War Memorial Stadium tonight. As the count now is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Terry Brown. Hagerstown Suns managed by Mike Hart. Having a pretty comfortable year this year, 26-25 in the Northern Division. Virginia Generals at 12-39. Here's the pitch by Boyles. And it's outside as the deuces now are wild at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I'd be interested to see how many pitches Boyles has thrown already. His arm must be pretty tired right now.
Has to be close to the 80s.
No good.
As John Boyles, who came into the ball game tonight with a 1-1 record, 1.23 ERA. You'll see that raise a little bit. And right there, Boyles comes out of the inning strong, fanning Terry Brown. And that was a good comeback right there for Boyles, as he had allowed 3 runs, but he got out of the last couple of batters pretty strongly there, Terry.
But the fact remains, you look at the scoreboard, he's still down 4-0. And he's thrown a lot of pitches so far. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jim Chesney start the next inning for the Generals.
And still pitching strongly for the Hagerstown Suns is Brian Dubois. He was 3-4, going for his 4th win tonight. And right now we have a time for another commercial break. Bargain City USA, the best bargain in town is Bargain City USA. They're located on 3318 West Mercury Boulevard, just a mile from Big Bethel Road. Bargain City USA has everything one can imagine, from food and beverages to toys, books, garden supplies, sporting goods, and even much more. Whether you want a candy bar or a fishing pole, Bargain City USA has got it. The best prices in town are definitely at Bargain City USA on Mercury Boulevard, right outside of Big Bethel Road. Contact Joe Queen for any questions at 827-8854, and come by Bargain City for a visit today. Score still at 4-0 as the Hagerstown Suns lead it over the Virginia Generals. We go to the bottom of the 3rd now, and we'll see if the Generals can try to get back here, as Kent Headley, 6 foot, 180 pounds, from Appleton last year. He is 23 years of age. He'll be 24 on June the 21st. Last year, Headley played in Appleton, where he batted at .230 in the Midwest League. And he takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Other games going on tonight in the Carolina League. Prince William at Kinston. It is Durham at Lynchburg and Salem at Winston-Salem. Has a bunt back, and it'll be 1 ball and 1 strike right now on Headley. It'll be Kent Headley, Stu Cole, and Derek Ladner. Headley, the center fielder. And on the year, Headley is batting in the 200s. In fact, he's batting at 288, a very consistent player as of late for the Generals.
It's not a surprise that since Headley's been inserted into the starting lineup as center fielder, the Generals have won 3 games. 3 games in a row, I should say. Headley's a good heads-up player. He gets wood on the ball as he did just then.
And it hits it to second base. Not in time as the second baseman for the Hagerstown Suns, Buford, throws it to Segway to retire Headley. And now batting will be Stu Cole, the shortstop. Stu Cole for the Virginia Generals this year is batting at 266, 64 at bats. He has no home runs and only 3 RBIs, but he's been out for some of the year.
Stu, of course, had that single, that infield single in the first inning.
And he gets behind the count, 0-1. Brian Dubois, 3-4, 4.68 ERA. For Hagerstown, still going pretty strong. You should take a good look at him. Last year, Terry, the fans here at War Memorial Stadium had a chance to see Martinez. Tippy Martinez came here for Hagerstown a couple times for rehabilitation. And some of the Baltimore Orioles did come down to Hagerstown to get ready for the August stretch run. So it's not uncommon to see some of the major leaguers down here during the month of August.
No, it's not, and it's not uncommon to see some guys who are almost certain to go to the major leagues. A good example is Bill Kazmierzak of Salem, who's thrown 2 no-hitters already. I personally saw Mr. Kazmierzak throw a no-hitter against the Generals a couple of weeks ago.
And a ground ball hit right to the third base line. Should be an easy out, and it is. So a ground out right there as Bobby Latmore relays it to David Segway for 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. And batting now will be Derek
Ladner, who last time up, hit a fly ball out to the center fielder, caught. I guess that goes as an out in anybody's book.
And Latner takes the first pitch out for a ball. On the year, he's batting at 228, 101 at-bats. He has 3 home runs to keep him up abreast with Pete Albrano. But of course, Latner has sole possession of that now, and he has 12 RBIs. Only batting 228, hits for power, but at times he can be pretty consistent going in a stretch run. Lately, he has been for the most part.
What Breeden likes about Derek Ladner is the fact that Ladner gets his bat on the ball. Very rarely is he called out on strikes. He's always swinging. He's always making contact.
16-5. We run undefeated.
And Latner hits one into deep left field. Is it going? And it hits the top of the wall right there, and Latner will be in for a ground-up double, stand-up double right there for Latner. As he shows his power right there, and as Terry mentioned, as Joe Breeden says, he hits with contact, and he just showed it right there to the fans here at the ballpark tonight. Derek Latner improving that 228 batting average. As right now bringing up to the plate.
Got good wood on the ball. That one looked like it might have been out of here for a while before it hit the top of the wall, as I'm sure the gentleman next to me would attest to.
Frank Royano will be batting right now in the cleanup position at second base. The second baseman, batting number 4 in the lineup tonight for the Generals. Be facing Dubois, having a chance right now to bring Latner in as he's in scoring position. So, the Generals right now having a good opportunity to do some damage to the Hagerstown Suns. As you see, no balls, 1 strikes, 2 outs. Just when they get things going, they always have 2 outs against them, it seems like, Terry.
2-out rallies are hard to come by. Dubois with a nice curveball right there.
On the count now is 1-2.
Give it to Swan, 3-point try, no.
On Laureano.
So the Crabbers have found the shooting code here in the first quarter.
Headley and Morris are the hot players right now for the Generals.
From the field.
And the pitch is up high for ball one. Morris, of course, batting at .371 in his last 35 at-bats. Headley has been batting .417 his last 24 at-bats. And, of course, Brooks, Kevin Brooks, who went to York High School, has been batting .286 in his last 28 bats, is not playing in the first game tonight.
And with the way Angel Morris has been swinging a bat lately, you'd kind of like to see Francisco Laureano. I spoke too soon. He struck out looking.
And Laureano goes out and strikes right there as we end 3 innings of play right there. So at the bottom of the third, it's the Hagerstown Suns leading it 4-0. And that's the bottom of the third right there, Terry. I'm Greg Picaveras along with Terry Armour. And right now, Terry will be taking over for a couple innings. I'll be doing some radio, and I'll be back in the 5th inning. And Terry, the Generals right now, they had their chance to score, but they did not capitalize in the last couple of innings.
No, they didn't. And who knows what's going to happen right now as John Boyles is back on the mound. I thought Jim Chesney might be coming in with the way Boyles ended the inning last inning, but much to my surprise, John Boyles is still pitching. Generals already down 4-0. It seems that they're always behind during this whole season. But that'll happen. 4-0 in the 4th inning here, Hagerstown over Virginia. As you see the crowd, and now as you see the players lounging outside the dugout. It's a nice summer night. It's about time we got some nice summer weather here in Virginia, in the Hampton. And joining me right now is going to be a guy who everyone's going to know once he puts this headset on. It's Johnny Bench. Just kidding. Actually, it's Robert Fish, the radio guy for the Virginia Generals. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I wish I could talk like you.
I see you have things nice and wet down here for me.
Yeah, we knew you were coming.
Great to be down in the TV booth, and we're ready for action here. As we go to the 4th inning for Hagerstown, Louis Paulino will lead it off. And Paulino's 1 for 1 on the day. Had a single back in the 2nd inning against right-hander John Boyles. Boyles' first pitch, a slider, misses outside for a ball 1-0. Terry, so far this year, John Boyles has looked much sharper in his first 2 starts, and he has not been as effective.
No, he's not. It seems like he's throwing a lot of pitches, and he's trying for the outside corner on each of the batters, and the ball's just not getting on the outside corner. It's going out, low and outside, as you just saw from that pitch right there.
Under slider down and away, 2 balls and no strikes. John Boyles definitely has not been his sharpest. Hagerstown leads this ball game 4-0. Boyles is 2-0 offering. Changeup floats outside. It's now 3-0 to Louis Paulino.
You think the heat could have anything to do with this, Robert? The fact that it's kind of hot out here?
It's a possibility Boyles might be affected by it. This is only his 3rd time starting. 3-0 the count here in the 4th inning, and there's a fly ball high above the outfield, not very deep. Kent Headley and Tom Johnson converging in right center, and Kent Headley makes the call on the catch for out number 1 here in the 4th. That will take care of Louis Paulino. And it brings up the 3rd baseman for Hagerstown, Bobby Latmore.
Bobby Latmore, who struck out swinging last time up. Nice curveball by John Boyles. As Kyle Reese out to the mound talking to Mr. Boyles right now.
Reese and Boyles going out to discuss the strategy for attacking Bobby Latmore. Latmore struck out, as you said, back in the 2nd inning. Lining up at 3rd base for Hagerstown. He's played a few games against Virginia already this year.
And would it be safe to say that the way the Generals have played, he's played a few games well against the Generals?
Actually, Latmore has been struggling against Virginia. The first couple of ball games he played on the doubleheader, he was a combined 0 for 5 in that doubleheader back on April the 14th. First pitch from Boyles misses downstairs for the ball, 1-0. Latmore, right-handed hitter.
Aaron Johnson, he crosses the timeline. 22-10.
Ball 1, another ball for Boyles.
Gets his own rebound.
1-0 pitch, change up, and that misses high. So Boyles having trouble with his control. Definitely not his best outing. 2 balls and no strikes. 4th inning, our score right now, 4-0 Hagerstown on top of this one. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Suns. No runs, 4 hits, and no errors for the Generals.
On the baseline.
John Boyles, the tall right-hander on the mound. Here comes his offering to Latmore. 2-0 pitch, fastball low at the knees. It's 3-0. Terry, you have definitely seen John Boyles better. You remember the start against Kinston.
Yes.
On 5/26, the 26th of May.
He sure didn't throw as many pitches as he's thrown so far this game. You got to wonder if he's getting tired at this point.
The 3-0 pitch, taking all the way. Latmore takes ball 4. So Latmore draws a walk, and he'll jog down to first base. Another base runner against John Boyles. Boyles now has his second walk of the day. That's uncharacteristic. In 3 previous appearances, John Boyles had walked only 3 batters, and he's walked 2 tonight in 3 1/3 innings.
Yeah, that's right. That'll bring up Mr. Don Buford right here, Don Buford Jr., who in the first inning singled and stole second and third base. Of course, came around to score.
Those 2 stolen bases by Mr. Buford now give him 29 on the year, which is good enough for second in the Carolina League. Compact switch hitter, batting from the left side against John Boyles. The Generals right-hander to the belt. Now a bouncer. That's into right field for a base hit. Johnson up with the ball. He'll get it back in a hurry. Laureano, the second baseman, cuts it off. The runners hold at first and second. Another base hit for Don Buford Jr., showing some of the style that his father had for many years in the major leagues.
So maybe it was a good call. It just didn't look like it was his call to make.
Buford now 2 for 3 on the afternoon, and Randy Stryjek comes to the plate. Terry, we mentioned earlier on the radio broadcast that Hagerstown as a team had been hitting .304 against this Virginia Generals ball club. They continue to hit well against Virginia pitching here tonight.
That's true, but I've noticed just from covering the Generals so far that a lot of teams hit well, but Hagerstown seems to just really have Virginia's number.
Swing and a miss at the pitch in the dirt, and a snap throw down to first by Kyle Reese, but Don Buford Jr. dives back in time.
Of course, you almost gotta wonder what Mr. Buford might try with a man on second base. I don't know.
Not much. No balls and 1 strike on Randy Stryjek. Stryjek is 1 for 2. He's singled and grounded to third base in his 2 previous at-bats tonight. Boyles taking a long time. Now goes to the belt, checks the runners, comes to the plate with the 0-1. Changeup swung on and missed, and a beautiful pitch it was. Stryjek walks around the batter's box thinking about that one. No balls and 2 strikes.
Stryjek, of course, who singled in the third inning and came around and scored when Hagerstown scored those 3 runs last inning.
The big blow in that inning back in the third, a triple off the top of the wall in right field just out of the reach of Tom Johnson by David Segui.
I don't know, from your vantage point upstairs in the booth, did that ball look like it was out of here? It looked like it hit the top?
It hit the top of the wall, and that is part of the ballpark, and it came back into the park.
Yeah.
So that definitely was not a home run. Boyles to the belt. He'll check the runners at first and second. And again, misses outside with a slider. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Good waist pitch right there, though. John was ahead of the count at 0-2. Boyles, a big right-hander. Played baseball in the Reds organization for a couple of years. Played in last year the Mexican League. He pitched AA baseball for the Reds. 4th inning, 1-2 the count with 1 out. Hagerstown has a runner at first and second. A stretch. The Suns already up 4-0. Boyles to the plate, runners go, swing and a miss, throw to third. Corsino can't handle the throw. Sliding in safely with a stolen base is Bobby Latmore. And Don Buford Jr. is safe at second. Big strikeout for Boyles. It is the second out of the inning. And it brings up Walt Harris. Kyle Reese almost had Latmore sliding into third base. But the ball was low and Corsino could not handle it. There you see Latmore standing at third. That'll bring up Walt Harris. As John Boyles tugs at his hat, gets himself set to go from the stretch. Harris 1 for 1. He walked in the first inning and doubled and scored a run back in the third. We're in the 4th inning. Hagerstown up 4-0. A stretch by Boyles in the pitch. That's fouled straight back to the screen, up the backstop, and out of play. No balls and 1 strike.
Looks like Jim Chesney still warming up over in the bullpen with Ruben Pujols for the Generals.
Harris 6'1", 195 from Lodi, California. And as I'm sure Greg touched on earlier, had a chance to play some professional football. Played with the San Diego Chargers as a dreaded scab in the NFL strike.
Ooh, such an ugly word, Robert.
Let's call him a replacement then.
Thank you.
Don Boyles, the right-hander. battling with Walt Harris, right-handed hitting outfielder for Hagerstown. Stretched by Boyles with runners at second and third. And he misses with the changeup up high in on the hands, a ball and a strike. The Generals won 3 games in a row down in Lynchburg and are not showing the form they used to win those 3 games here tonight.
Seems like Boyles is having problems with that changeup and that slider today.
John has a record of 1-1 on the year, the lowest ERA on the staff. With that ERA of 1.23. Here's his 1-1 offering. Fly ball hit deep to center. Headley's going back, way back, and Headley reaches up and makes the grab on the warning track for out number 3 of the inning. And a big out it was. Harris retired. Boyles hit hard, but gets out of it. There were no runs in the inning. 1 hit, no errors, and a couple of Suns left on base. They played 3 1/2, going to the bottom of the 4th. Our score is Hagerstown 4 and Virginia nothing.
Well, Robert, what have you seen differently on the team on the road trip in Lynchburg? What have you noticed of why they're playing differently now?
I think the major thing has been the change in the lineup. You've seen guys like Kevin Brooks into the lineup, guys like Kent Headley who are really asking for a big chance to play and getting that chance to play. And I think what you're seeing is guys who are a little more aggressive, and it's going to make the rest of the players who have been benched more aggressive. The Generals got more men on base than they ever have in the month of May, I would say, in the last couple of ball games since the lineup change. The change taking place on 5/26 here against Kinston.
Right.
And I think that's been the main difference is the lineup change. A good crowd on hand here tonight for Just Say No to Drugs Night in conjunction with the Hampton City Schools, making all of the youngsters aware of the alternatives to drugs.
And boy, aren't there a lot of alternatives to drugs, Robert? Why there are Generals baseball games, for instance. Of course, there's a stroll through the park.
You know, a lot of the Generals today were out at area schools just signing autographs and alerting the kids that there are many, many other things to do and many other things to be aware of. And it's good to see idols like these. Kids idolize players, and it's a big thing to see the players out helping out. Angel Morris starts the 4th against Brian DuBois.
The hot-hitting Angel Morris.
First pitch sails outside for a ball. Morris extended that hitting streak of 10 games to 11 with a single back in the 2nd inning. Takes the changeup, evens the count at 1-1.
You can even hear some guys in the background yelling, "Come on, Angel."
Well, Angel's batting .371 during that streak.
Yeah.
Morris, a very popular figure. He's a 9-year veteran, 25 years old. Takes that little curveball outside, makes it 2-1.
As Greg alluded to earlier, looks like Steve Balboni, except, well, he's not bald.
The 2-1 on the way for DuBois. Curveball's down low. Morris checks his swing. 3 balls and 1 strike. Morris came up here with his family, his wife and his young daughter. They've made their home here in Hampton for the summer of 1988, unless something changes and Morris gets called up. 3-1 pitch is bounced slowly to third. Third baseman Latmore up with it. Across the infield to David Segui at first, and there is out number 1 of inning number 4. 1 gone. Hagerstown's up 4-0 here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. I'm Robert Fish. Terry Armour along with us.
You almost got to expect Brian DuBois to pretty much welcome leads like this. He didn't have too many of them when he pitched here. You can almost expect him to cruise for the rest of the game now.
Brian DuBois has looked very sharp as Tom Johnson stands in from the left side. Takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0. Johnson, very consistent hitter, got the day off yesterday. He has played in all of the Generals ball games until yesterday. Solidly built left-handed hitter. 1-0 pitch. That's over for a called strike. A good fastball from DuBois. DuBois has looked sharp. Count evens at 1-1. Johnson's from McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, outside the Pittsburgh area. Plays well when his family's in attendance. His family was in attendance at Hagerstown. He was 2 for 5. At Lynchburg they came down. He was 3 for 5.
You know, I say let's build a home for the family right out here at the ballpark, Robert.
Johnson fouls that one off. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
As the score has been doubled, 32-16.
DJ last year was in the Florida State League down at Fort Myers. Good defensive outfielder too.
Made a nice shoe top catch earlier in this game.
Swings and misses at that offering from Brian DuBois, and that is strikeout number 3 as Johnson goes down swinging. So there are 2 outs in the 4th inning, and now Louis Corsino comes to the plate. Corsino has been struggling.
Reached out a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. Angel Morris was out in the front end of that play.
We talked a moment ago about Hagerstown batting .304. They're actually batting .307 coming into tonight's game against Virginia as Corsino takes a strike, 0-1.
Well, since we're making amends, I think I made a mistake when I said Andre Ford had during the losing streak, had only hit in 4 of 44 games. Excuse me, let me check that again, Robert. I said that he was 4 of 44 when in fact he was 10 of 49. Sure, maybe at some stretch he was 4 of 44, but that's not documented in front of me.
There's a bouncer to short. Stryjek drops it, throws to first, and it's just in time to get Luis Corsino. Nice play by the Hagerstown shortstop, Randy Stryjek, retiring Generals third baseman Luis Corsino. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. They played 4 here at historic War Memorial Ballpark, and it's Hagerstown 4 and Virginia nothing.
As you see the brass section at War Memorial Park, and some guy who's looking right at us right there. How you doing, kid? Say no to drugs, pal.
A couple of the area bands and players in attendance. There you see some of the crowd. They're enjoying themselves.
Having a little popcorn.
Big night here at historic War Memorial Ballpark.
Good crowd on hand. It's got to feel good for the Generals to finally have a real crowd at the ballpark. People haven't been necessarily coming here in droves. Maybe this will be the start of something good for the Generals.
Well, like we talked about, the players got out to the area schools today and did some talking to the kids and gave out some good discount tickets and got everybody in. This is the beginning of a 5-game set with Hagerstown, and then the Yankees are coming in over the weekend. And over that weekend, there will be a doubleheader on Sunday, so the Generals will have to play another doubleheader.
Yeah.
Hagerstown will be here tomorrow night, and they're going to be here on Friday night also, and also on Saturday night. And then on Sunday and Monday, Prince William is in town. Doubleheader on Sunday, and then a single game on Monday night. There you see a shot of the Hagerstown bullpen, and you see the man sitting on the end of the bench on the left there. That's Steve Kalker, another former Virginia General, on the left on the end of the bench, sitting by himself. Kalker used to play with the Generals, of course, as did Brian DuBois, and it's a matchup of former Generals against their former club here. Kalker was with Virginia for the first couple of games and was called up to Hagerstown. An unusual situation. It was when Hagerstown went, or Virginia went to Hagerstown, that Kalker was called up to the club. He is, of course, property of the Baltimore Orioles. That gives them the right to do that. David Segui, digging in the batter's box, will start this 5th inning. Segui has been a pain in the side tonight. He has all 4 runs batted in. Make it 3 of the 4 runs batted in. He tripled in the 3rd inning to knock in 2 and hit a sacrifice fly back in the 1st. Pitch on the way. Little number off the end of the bat. It's going to fall in front of Andre Ford in left field for a base hit. So John Boyles made a good pitch. David Segui fought it off and lands it out there in the outfield for a single in front of Andre Ford in left. Segui, of course, son of Diego Segui.
The great Diego Segui.
Former Major League ball player.
What is he, with the Orioles for a while? And, of course, other teams on the Major League level.
Segui on at first now, and here's Dave Bettendorf. Bettendorf singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2 on the night. Singled and drove in a run and bounced to second base. Bettendorf, 6 foot, 190, from Chillicothe, Ohio. Boyles to the belt in the pitch. Fastball just missed the outside corner. Good pitch, but it's outside for a ball, 1-0.
Just like the previous innings, it seems that Hagerstown has had a man on base, at least one man on base, each of the first 4 innings here.
Top half of inning number 5, Hagerstown up 4-0. 7-inning ball game. It is the first of 2. Time is called as everybody looks up in the sky. Not sure what the reasoning is. Very clear out here tonight. A little bit on the hazy side on the horizon, though. 1-0 pitch with a runner at first is taken high and outside. It's 2-0. Elsewhere around the Carolina League tonight, Prince William is at Kinston. Durham is at Lynchburg. Kent Merker on the mound for Durham tonight. Merker Just 2 off the strikeout lead in the Carolina League. He struck out 83 batters on the year. Bill Kazmierzak of Winston-Salem, Mr. No-Hit himself, has 85.
It'll be interesting to see how fast Mr. Kazmierzak moves up in that Cubs organization.
Hop foul overhead, not a play. Kyle Reese gives it a look, but it's off on the left side over the roof. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Dave Bettendorf. Well, Kazmierzak has thrown 2 no-hitters already. Last night against Prince William, Winston-Salem won that ball game 2-1. Kazmierzak fired a complete game and struck out 15.
Ooh, tell me that guy's not on a roll right now.
Tony Matoyer pitched very well last night for Virginia, going 7 innings, giving up no runs in their win over Lynchburg, 7-2. 2-1 is the count right here on Dave Bettendorf in the top of the 5th inning, 4-0. Hagerstown on top. There's a snap throw to first, and back in time is David Segui. This Hagerstown club doesn't steal too many bases. They've got 78 on the year. Segui has not stolen one yet this season. That total of 78 is not quite last in the Carolina League. That stat belongs to Lynchburg, stealing only 22 bases. Another throw to first, and Segui back in time.
Well, of course, Hagerstown pretty much seems to leave the base stealing to Mr. Buford.
And rightly so. He has 29, and he is second in the Carolina League in stolen bases. Walt Harris will steal a few on this club. He has 21. That's good for 5th in the league. 2-1 for Boyles. Line drive, right field, falls in for a base hit. Rounding second and heading to third is Segui. He'll be in safely. They'll get the ball back into second base. Stopping at first base with a single is Bettendorf. Segui goes all the way around to third. Runners on first and third for Hagerstown with nobody out in the 5th, and Jack Voigt coming to the plate.
It seems every time you look up, Mr. Segui is on third base.
Well, so far tonight, he has tripled back in the 3rd inning and flied to center field and singled and is on third right now as the lights begin to come on in historic War Memorial Ballpark here in Hampton. At the plate right now, Jack Voigt. Voigt on the night is 1 for 2. Taking the lead off first base, Dave Bettendorf.
Back at Cox Fieldhouse in Virginia Beach. Halftime
Stretch by Boyles and the pitch. This is outside with the fastball. It's 1-0. John Boyles has had control problems, and that's what will happen to you. 10 hits on the night for Hagerstown. That's what happens when you have a little control problem.
3 points for Cedric Williams. The Crabbers.
Again, Bettendorf off of first base. The runner Segui is at third. Hagerstown threatening with nobody out in the 5th.
6 points each for
Boyles to the plate. Swing and a miss. Good pitch by Boyles. Slider down and away. Count evens at 1-1.
Finally got a slider over there that someone swung at.
To the free throw line, and they converted 8
Jack Voigt,
from the free throw line. So that's a big difference.
6'1", 175 from Venice, Florida.
And they have 8 free throws, so you're talking about a 3-basket difference.
Normally a third baseman, but sometimes lines up in the outfield as he is tonight, playing right field for Hagerstown.
But they just didn't work the ball well.
Waiting on deck, Terry Brown.
They got caught a couple of times with their feet cemented to the floor.
Well, they most certainly did, Jim. And it seemed
Boyles to the belt. Checks post base runners and now comes home. That's another fastball outside. 2-1 the count.
We've seen him play much better.
Unusual control problems for John Boyles.
Get more movement off their big men underneath.
Lefty Jim Chesna still loosening up in the bullpen.
Some things happening which will open up the outside shots also.
Chesna, 20 years old, signed originally by the Pirates organization.
Doing exactly what they want to do. They're having an
It'll be the birthday boy tomorrow.
because Hampton's
21, the big 2-1.
There's the stretch by Boyles and the 2-1 offering. Swing and a miss and a good off-speed pitch. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jack Voigt.
And I know Hampton wants to get back in his ball game. They're going to have John Scott, although Eric Hunter's done an excellent
5th inning of action, 4-0 Hagerstown. Top half of inning number 5. 7-inning contest this evening. First of 2 here at the ballpark.
during the whole first half. Excuse me, Jim. We got a full half to go, and this game's not over by a long
Jack Voigt Waits patiently as John Boyles goes to the stretch and checks the runners at first and third. Now comes to the plate. Slider just outside. Took a little bit off of that one and missed. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Boyles seems a little frustrated with himself right now.
Well, he looks like he may be a little bit on the tired side, and like you said, Terry, it's very hot and humid out here, and maybe the humidity is getting to him as he takes his time on top of the mound. Now stepping back in the box is the right-hander Jack Voigt.
Yeah, the humidity sure is getting to me with this tuxedo I have on from Ames Tuxedos.
Williams can't get it to go.
A stretch by Boyles again. He'll come to the plate. Runner on first goes. Pitches high for ball 4, and that will load the bases. Down to second goes Bettendorf. Jack Voigt is on with a walk, and here's David Segui at third base. And now Terry Brown comes to the plate. Generals have not had a look at Terry Brown. He joined the Hagerstown club when Virginia was in Hagerstown back on April the 19th, 20th, and 21st. Brown is a very powerful individual. Played last year in Bluefield of the Appalachian League.
Easy shot.
Led that league in home runs with 14 home runs.
He took a couple of powerful swings his last time up, struck out swinging, a big swing, like he was going for that Pepsi sign out there.
Nobody out of the bases loaded. Brown at the plate is 0 for 2. Struck out in line to right. Hit the ball hard. Tom Johnson made a nice catch on top of his shoes in right field. Boyles' pitch. Fastball outside for a ball, 1-0.
So that could play into the
Louis Paulino would be next as you get a look at Terry Brown.
because now the Green Run team has their leading scorer in the first half in foul trouble. John Scott at the free throw.
Brown, 6 foot 180, waves the bat from the left side. As Boyles deals the 1-0. Bounce slowly down the first baseline. That rolls foul in front of the Generals' dugout and out of play. 1-1. At first base is Jack Voigt. At second base, Dave Bettendorf. And over at third base, David Segui. The bases are loaded for Hagerstown.
So Scott gets 1 of 2.
Terry Brown at the plate with nobody out in the 5th. Virginia trying to keep it right here, 4-0.
By Kevin Swan.
Kyle Reese gives the signs. Bases loaded, Boyles to the stretch. 1-1 pitch. Change up, bounce to first. Morris gloves it, he'll go to second for 1. Cole makes the play there, that's all they'll get as a run scores. Nice play by Stu Cole, but David Segui jogs home with the game's 5th run for Hagerstown. As Morris goes down to shortstop, where Stu Cole waits at second base. Moving on to third is Bettendorf, and safe at first is Terry Brown. There you see Bettendorf talking with manager Mike Hart. 1 out, they're discussing the possibilities of a double steal attempt or possibly what Bettendorf will do with a ground ball or a fly ball.
It'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
And Louis Paulino comes to the plate. Paulino is 1 for 2. He singled and flied to center field.
He was outmanned 3-1. And going into the tall timber, too.
John Boyles trying to get out of the 5th inning.
Couldn't get the ball to go down, and Green Run wisely rebounded and brought it back down.
The horn section striking up a note up there in the stands.
Quick throw to first. Back in time is Terry Brown, the base runner. Generals looking forward to the second half and trying to piece things together here. They've won 3 games in a row. Would like to, in the last couple of weeks, the first half ending June the 18th, get things together for the second half of action. Boyles goes to the belt with runners at first and third. There goes Brown. Pitch is bounced to the right side. Laureano to Cole at second. Not in time. Throw to first is in time. Another run jogs home to score. Out at first base is Paulino on the play, which will have to be scored 4-6-3. Laureano caught the ball, flipped it to Stu Cole, trying to get the force at second. Safe at second base was Terry Brown.
Good slide by Terry Brown there.
Bettendorf scored the run. That makes it now 6-0. Here in the top of the 5th inning, Hagerstown on top. And it brings up Bobby Latmore. Latmore has struck out and walked. He's also stolen a base tonight. Boyles on the mound, going for the stretch. Looks just a little bit on the tired side.
Yes, he does. You can see it in his face out there.
The stretch by Boyles. And the pitch. On the outside corner of the knees with a slider, it's a called strike, 0-1.
Seems that with that slider, that's the spot he's been looking for the whole game. He just hasn't been getting it there.
No balls, 1 strike. Boyles uncharacteristically has given up 10 hits on the night. 2 men out of the 5th inning. Out at second base is Terry Brown. The batter is Bobby Latmore. Boyles to the plate. Here he comes. Change up, bounce down the third base line, but that's fouled out of play. On down into the Hagerstown bullpen. So the count is quickly no balls and 2 strikes on Bobby Latmore. Some of the names missing from this Hagerstown lineup as Don Buford Jr. waits on deck. Craig Eberle, the normal catcher. Craig Faulkner, it's Mike Eberle, excuse me. Craig Faulkner not playing tonight. A couple of big individuals. Faulkner 6'5".
Yeah, big guy.
Eberle 6'2", 200. Faulkner 6'5", 235. Boyles to the belt, the pitch. Fastball's just a little bit high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. John pitched in the Mexican League last year. Before that, he was a starter in 1986 for Vermont of the Eastern League. That's property of the Cincinnati Reds. That team was Eastern League champions. 1-2 the count right now with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Latmore waits patiently. Now time is gone. Latmore patience wears thin.
I'm sure Boyles doesn't mind him calling time.
John working here in the 5th inning, very tired. I imagine we will see Jim Chesna come in, or someone come in the 6th. The 1-2 to Latmore is a curveball that just missed off the outside corner. Kyle Reese thought he had strike 3, and so did John Boyles. Count evens though at 2-2.
Because they were undecided, they went with the possession arrow.
That's like a jump ball. Hampton will get the ball, but the next possession will be for Green Run. That was an excellent.
Latmore, another player from Florida, 22 years old. Batting from the right side with 2 men out and a runner at second and Terry Brown. Boyles to the stretch. Checks the runner at second, the pitch. Check swing, it's fouled off the dugout side, right in front of the Generals dugout fence.
Good thing there was a fence there. Mr. Breeden might be sitting down right now.
2 balls and 2 strikes. As you can see, not much room from dugout to dugout and from field to dugout. Boyles again trying to get out of the 5th inning. 6-0, Hagerstown on top of this one. John gets his sign from Kyle Reese. Latmore waits in the batter's box, waving the bat back and forth. And Boyles spins and fakes a throw out to second base.
One of the few misses for Green Run tonight. They were 8 for 10 at halftime from the free throw line.
Even though this is John Boyles' 3rd start, he should not be all that fatigued, except for the heat and humidity tonight. He went 5 2/3 his last out. Pitch. Ooh. Fastball just in tight, and it almost hit Bobby Latmore, 3-2. But Boyles has not thrown as many pitches in his first couple of outings as he has tonight.
It seems that he threw 80 pitches by like the 4th inning, it seemed. Throwing a lot of pitches tonight.
Well, he has thrown quite a few pitches, and he's been hit hard. John to the belt, right-hander deals. That's called strike 3 on the outside corner, and that ends the top half of the 5th inning. 2 runs for Hagerstown on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 left.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
As you look at the scoreboard, the Virginia Generals down 6-0 going into the bottom of the 5th inning. 10 hits for Hagerstown, and looks like former General Brian DuBois, affectionately known as Doobie by his former teammates, is cruising along. It looks like he's got it going for him.
Well, DuBois has done very well so far as he works the 5th inning. He has given up only 4 hits. He has struck out 3. Hasn't walked anybody.
Pretty impressive outing from Mr. Du Bois.
Kyle Reese, Andre Ford, and Kent Headley. 8-9-1 in the Generals lineup. Kyle Reese, the Generals catcher, working against Brian Du Bois.
Kyle singled to left field his last time up.
Lifts this one foul over the roof on the right side and out of play. No balls and 1 strike. Reese is an interesting sort. He was originally signed by the Atlanta Braves as a catcher. In 1984, though, Kyle Reese was released. Jim Chesna continues to warm up down in the Generals bullpen.
Oh, a ball just got by Ruben Pujols out there.
0-1 pitch from Du Bois. Nice curve, but it just missed. That's a ball and a strike. One and one on Kyle Reese. Reese eventually latched on with the Kansas City Royals organization. 1-1 pitch. Slider outside. It's now 2-1. Bottom half of inning number 5, 6-0. The Hagerstown Suns and Brian Du Bois on top of the Virginia Generals. Reese with a single back in the 2nd inning. Kyle from Hartwell, Georgia. 2-1 from Du Bois. Swung on and missed by Reese. Good pitch on the outside corner. It's 2-2.
Nice pitch.
No. Yes, I can hear you.
Interesting note about Kyle Reese, just a personal note. I found out on the bus the other day, you find out so many things when you ride the bus with a ball club, that Kyle was, his older brother Chip Reese and I went to the same baseball camp a few years ago, operated by the Kansas City Royals. Fly ball high above the playing surface. 3-man conference out in left. Finally, Terry Brown, the left fielder, makes the call. And that's out number 1. Randy Stryjak and Bobby Latmore converged out there, but Terry Brown coming in had the better angle and made the call.
Kyle just got under that pitch, didn't really get enough wood on it.
Brings up Andre Ford. Andre's been struggling on this 1988 season. Comes into the ball game batting .259, was 3 for 4 last night against Lynchburg. Du Bois' first pitch is over for a called strike on the inside corner. It's 0-1. But Andre had not played the last 5 ball games. He has a strikeout problem, and he has been benched trying to get over that mentally. Bounces this one foul. Nice play down in the coaching box.
A big difference right there.
That's Pete Alvarado over there coaching at first base.
8 free throws, so you're talking about a 3-basket difference in essence.
Count quickly, no balls and 2 strikes on Andre Ford.
I'm not trying to be on their case, but they just didn't work the ball well in the first half. And on
Du Bois checking with Paulino for the sign and deals to Ford. Swing and a miss. There are some of the problems that Andre Ford has had. He struck out twice tonight.
Well, as you mentioned, when you bench somebody to try to quell that problem, it seems like it's a whole mental thing. The guy's just not taking a real hard swing. Not to mention that a couple of times he swings at some bad pitches.
Well, here's Kent Headley. Now, Headley's been playing in place of Andre Ford until the last couple of days. Andre started yesterday for Tom Johnson and starting today for Kevin Brooks. First pitch to Kent. Curveball gets away from Paulino down in the dirt. 1-0. Headley, from Hamilton, Indiana, played his collegiate baseball at Wichita State. Perennial NCAA powerhouse. Had to make a decision between playing baseball with the Royals professionally as he takes another one down low, 2-0, or having a shot at the Olympic team. Headley has good speed. Runs down the first baseline for a right-hander in 3.8 seconds as Du Bois deals the 2-0. Swing and a miss, the changeup, 2-1.
The changeup is working for him. It's the opposite of Mr. Boyles. Boyles' changeup's not working. Doobie, that changeup is getting over there.
Du Bois from Briarwood, Illinois.
36-22. Pair of 20s battling.
And the lefty deals to Headley. That's a fastball just outside, 3-1. Ryan last year pitched in Hagerstown. He was 8-9 in Hagerstown last year.
And he puts it in.
It was originally targeted at the beginning of the year for Double-A.
He's moving around and getting the shot.
3-1 pitch. Down low, ball 4, and Headley draws a walk. That gives the Generals a little bit of speed on the base paths with 2 outs here in the 5th inning.
It's Doobie's first walk of the game.
Virginia trailing 6-0. After this half inning, I'll go back upstairs and handle the radio, and Greg Vicabaris will be back with us to finish up the ball game.
Wesley dribbles into the lane, has it knocked away.
Stu Cole singled in the first inning, bounced to third in the 3rd inning. He is 1 for 2. Headley on at first base. Now the interesting pickoff move by Du Bois. He throws home, and it's ball 1 outside. Du Bois picked off 33 men last year. Was not called for a balk at all. This year he's picked off 6 in a General's uniform. Outside 2-0. And was called for a balk and was rather livid about it.
Well, you know, with that whole balk thing this year, Robert, pitchers act as if it's an attack on their manhood when you call a balk on them.
Well, Kent Headley with good speed out at first base. Stu Cole in the batter's box as the Generals bat in the 5th, trailing 6-0. Du Bois to the plate. High's pitch on the outside corner with a fastball, 2-1. Stu Cole was on the disabled list from the start of the year, injuring himself in a workout here at historic War Memorial Ballpark before the season opened. Outside, 3-0. Bottom of the 5th inning, 6-0. Hagerstown, 6 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Virginia, no runs, 4 hits, and 1 error. 3-1 to Cole with Headley at first. Fly ball right side. Tough play. Segui going out. Also the right fielder comes around, and Voigt can't make the play. It falls for a base hit. Here comes Headley to score. And Cole stops at second base on a double that was misplayed by Jack Voigt, the right fielder. It's a 6-1 ball game. Virginia has cracked the scoring column here in the 5th on a 2-out wind-blown double by Stu Cole. Headley scored all the way from first base. It's 6-1, bottom half of the 5th inning. Jack Voigt came all the way from right field and had to make a tough play of the ball near the line, a high fly ball. That's the first run off Brian Du Bois tonight, and it brings up Derek Ladnier. Ladnier 1 for 2, has hit Du Bois hard both times up. A fly ball to center and a double off the wall and left.
And that double was yanked.
There goes Cole from second. Curveball fouled over the dugout on the screen on the third base side. Cole was running on the play. 0-1 the count. Derek Ladnier has 3 home runs on the year. All 3 have come from the left side. Ladnier from Pensacola, Florida. One of the top third base prospects in the Royals organization. Du Bois to the belt. Checks Cole at second. To the plate. Curveball is low, 1-1. Generals have scored a run in the 5th inning with 1 out. It's a 6-1 Hagerstown lead.
Cedric Williams. He's got 5 points. Grabbers bring Aaron
Terry
Johnson.
Brown playing Mr. Ladnier pretty deep right in front of the 350 mark out there in left field.
Ladnier fouls one off the right side up on the roof and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Du Bois battling Ladnier. Derek in the first inning hit a fly ball deep to center. In the 3rd inning, he doubled off the wall and left. There's Stu Cole out at second base. Ryan Du Bois trying to get out of the inning, steps off the mound.
5:17 to go in the 3rd, 40-20.
Ladnier at the plate. General's big power hitter waits as Du Bois looks for the sign. Goes to the belt. Checks the runner, Stu Cole at second. Checks him again, comes home. Cole goes on the pitch, fly ball right field. Voigt's got room though, and Jack reaches up. Makes the catch for out number 3. 1 run for Virginia, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. We've played 5. It is Hagerstown 6 and Virginia 1 with 2 innings left time for me to go back upstairs and turn things back over to Greg Vicaveras for innings 6 and 7 here on the TV broadcast. And Terry, I'll send it over to you until Greg gets back. Enjoyed working with you for a couple innings, and we'll see you a little bit later on.
Thanks a lot, Robert. It's been a pleasure, babe.
All right.
Robert Fish going back up to the radio booth. He was able to get a run for the Generals while he joined me here in the booth. 6-1 right now. What a nice night for a baseball game, and I guess the fans here pretty much proving that. As Jim Chesna in for the Virginia Generals now. Get a good look at least part of historic War Memorial Ballpark here while Chesna throws his warm-ups. Warm-ups. Chesna is 0-0. He's got a 4.70 ERA. Chesna has only appeared in 9 games. Pitched 15 innings. He's given up 16 hits, 14 runs. 8 of them were earned. He's only given up 2 home runs. Walked 17, struck out 7. I know he'd like to get those walks down, but he's a young pitcher, 20 years old. As I mentioned, he's going to be 21 as of tomorrow. That's something that he'll learn in due time. As my good buddy Greg Vicaveras joins us in here, he looks a little shuffled, but it's good to have him back.
How you doing, Terry?
I'm doing okay.
Well, the Generals scored 1 run there, and of course, Boyles had just about all he could take right there, so we have a new pitcher in the ball game right now.
Jim Chesna, James, Big Jim. Well, actually, Little Jim, but I guess we could call him Big Jim. He wouldn't mind.
And folks, just for you not really familiar with the Virginia Generals baseball team, they have a player on this team called Jimi Hendrix.
They had a player on this team called Jimi Hendrix.
And where is he at now, Terry?
Jimi Hendrix probably playing purple haze somewhere. Hendrix was released. No team has picked him up as of yet. Most of the pitchers on the General staff, not even most of them, all of them are independent pitchers, not of the Kansas City Royals organization.
The first 12 were, of course, Kansas City Royals affiliated. Now they're getting it from basically all over as we get toward the middle half of the first of the season here.
We'll see how that baseball draft that took place today, how that will affect the Generals and other teams in the Carolina League.
Exactly.
First pitch by Chesna, ball 2. Actually, that would mean second pitch by Chesna now, wouldn't it?
So the count now is 2 balls and no strikes as Chesna making his first appearance in tonight's ball game. He, of course, is 5'10", 172 pounds. He's only 20 years of age. He's a rookie making his debut in professional baseball in 1988 here at War Memorial Stadium. Making his debut with his peers here at War Memorial. He's a left-hander. I just took a good look at him right there. Perfect motion right there he has, Terry. Beautiful wind-up and everything.
He's still got a lot to learn, but one thing he's learned is how to get that motion going. He's got a nice fastball, tries to set the hitters up with a curveball. His changeup, which just sailed high right there, is also a good pitch as Buford walks.
So batting now for the Hagerstown Suns will be Randy Stryjek. Randy on the year for the Suns, batting at .263. How's he done so far tonight, Terry?
Well, he's singled and scored. He singled to right field in the 3rd inning. He struck out swinging his last time up. I guess that would mean he's 1 for 3. One of those runs that came across the plate in that big 3rd inning.
So we have a runner on first right now with Randy Stryjek at bat.
You trail by 16, you've got to convert those.
Randy Stryjek, 6 foot 275 pounds from New York. He's 23 years of age. Carolina League action here on Channel 29. Hope you're enjoying the ball game. Greg Vicaveras along with Terry Armour here. We'll try to get some more of our commercial breaks right after this half inning is over with. 6-1 is the score. 6 runs, 10 hits, no errors for Hagerstown, and 1 run, 5 hit, and 1 error for the Virginia Generals. As right there, fouling it back is Randy Stryjek, so the count now is even at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Get a good look there at the Generals dugout. Now we're looking at Buford at first base.
Would you say, Terry, you've seen the team all year long, is this a pretty consistent lineup with Angel Morris, of course, at first base? And would you say this is probably the best players they have on the field right now?
Angel Morris, I don't like to say that anyone's the best. I'd say he's one of the better players on the team. I like Stu Cole over there. He's a pretty steady shortstop. And Francisco Laureano at second base, who just joined the Generals, I mentioned earlier, 4 games ago. They have a pretty consistent lineup. Just lately, with Kent Headley in center field, they finally started getting men on base and scoring some runs. Maybe this is a lineup they'd like to look at to use over the course of the rest of the season.
This is a pretty good lineup, though, for the Virginia Generals right now. Of course, it has been. They've won the last 3 games in a row. The question is, can they continue it? It's kind of doubtful the first game for tonight. Kind of a long first game tonight too, Terry.
Yeah, for a 7-inning game, it seems to be cruising along just over 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes to be exact.
And right there, the count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Randy Stryjek. Chesna pitching, making his debut right here in 1988 for the Virginia Generals here at War Memorial. The left-hander pitches is up high for ball. So now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes from Stryjek. We might see the runner go on this play.
At the free throw line, Eric Wesley. He'll get 2 shots, and he'll get another.
Generals and the Hagerstown Suns. Hagerstown leads the series at 3-1.
Full count here in the 6th inning.
Here's the pitch by Chesna, and it's fouled, hooking towards the dugout right there in the bullpen of the Virginia Generals. As you take a look at
Angel Morris.
Angel in action. Can he be the Angel and save this team in the second half of the season, Terry?
You know, that was a cliche if I've ever heard one, Greg. But can he be? I guess that's a question that Joe Breeden's got to be asking.
So the count now is 3 balls and 2 strikes. 6-1 is the score. Virginia trailing it here in the top of the 6th inning. The stretch and the delivery, and it's fouled back once again. One thing we have seen here tonight, Terry, is a lot of pitching duels. The pitcher is going against the batters, and none of the batters are giving up anything early.
No, they're not. Swinging. I think one thing that managers hate the most is to see a guy up there who strikes out looking. You want to see people swinging at the ball.
That certainly is the case. And Hagerstown has won 6 out of the last 8 games, trying to make it 7 out of 9. They won 3 out of 4 against Prince William. And, you know, against Kinston and Salem this year, they're like 1-15. So they're glad to get some wins against Kinston over the weekend.
Yeah.
They really had found a minus right there. As you see the count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. On Randy Stryjek. Here's the pitch, and he belts one, a line drive into right field. The runner comes to third, and Stryjek will try to make it to second, and he does a stand up, and he drives one all the way in, and Buford will go around to score. And right there, he scores all the way from first, and Donnie Buford Jr., the son of the former Major Leaguer who played for the Baltimore Orioles, extends the lead to 7-1, Terry.
We mentioned earlier how fast this guy is. He was running. He was hawking it around those bases.
So the Crabbers with a smaller team out there.
Nice solid hit by Stryjek there in the gap.
Puts it up, it doesn't go. The tip.
And coming up to plate right now for the Hagerstown Suns will be Walt Harris, the center fielder. 24 years of age from Lodi, California, out on the West Coast. A lot of fans out here tonight in the ballpark as Kyle Reese takes a look and talks to Chiesa. Tells him to settle down right here to make sure nothing happens
Get that ball
too
low.
much here.
Tell me about it. That same problems Boyles has had earlier. Chesna seems to have walked into the same type of problems.
Now, Kevin, Swan has done excellent all year long, and I'm not criticizing Kevin, but twice he's come down.
And right now the score is 7-1 here in the top of the 6th. Here's the pitch. And it's hit into right field, but it's going to hook and it's going to go foul.
Pull that thing so that you at least have a shot.
So the count now is 0-1 on Walt Harris.
Chesna going back over to the mound. Maybe he is beset by the same problems that John Boyles had as far as the heat and humidity is concerned.
Walt Harris does a lot of weightlifting and conditioning on the offseason to make sure he's ready for the big season up ahead.
A possible confrontation with, there you see some of these.
And the Generals right now trying to get out of this game alive for the second game of the doubleheader tonight.
This coming Friday night, the winner of this game will more than likely.
And here's the pitch. It's a curveball, and it's right up high, just a wee bit up high for ball. So the count now is 1 ball and 1 strike.
He is one of the premier high school players in the nation. And right now, green run.
When you look at the Kansas City Royals minor league system, they're doing pretty well, but a lot of experimentation this year, 1988, and hopefully there'll be solid grounds in 1989. A lot of question was where the Virginia General is going to come back here in 1989 already, Terry.
Yeah, you wonder if they are going to be able to get a full contract with a team.
As we speak, Walt Harris hits a ground ball right up the center field line and goes all the way towards deep center field, and in comes another run. As right there, Chiesa getting a little loose and erratic right there as Randy Stryjek comes in. And Hagerstown, who has only scored 9 home runs this year, showing why they've scored a lot of runs. In a sense, they've all been able to hit pretty consistently.
That's right. You get people on base, move them in the scoring position. Someone hits a single, someone hits a sac fly. Runs come in. That's something that the Generals have not been able to do this season.
And the Hagerstown Suns with that run right there, RBI by Stryjek. He leads in from home, and he comes on in. And right now, Virginia, trailing 8-1.
Nobody out.
Just basically trying to get out of here. Jim Chesna, 5'10", 172, the pitcher right now. Only 20 years of age. Could be a little nervous shake for him, too. Hasn't had a whole lot of experience this year. But time will come, and he should be up there for the Generals this year. Here's a pitch. It's hit right down to the third base line.
Fair ball.
The throw is in time for the out. And right there, Corsino throws it right to Angel Morris for out number 1. And Joe Breeden is finally saying, where did it come? It's finally here, you know. As right now, Dave Bettendorf will be batting number 2 here in the top of the 6th. How's Bettendorf done tonight, Terry?
Bettendorf, who singled his last time up, came all the way around to score. First inning, grounded out 4-3, and then singled in the 3rd inning, so he's 2 for 3. Getting wood on the ball against these Generals pitchers.
So runner on second, here's the pitch. It's a wicked curveball, and it's up high for ball 1. Count now is 1 ball and no strikes. As we have 1 out here in the top of the 6th.
As you get a good look at Mr. Bettendorf there.
And the second pitch is down low in the dirt. Bettendorf batting .269 on the year, 2 home runs. He can hit it for power. He can definitely do it right here. The Generals have to watch out with him. It's Jim Chesna facing 1 right here with a runner on in scoring position. Here's the pitch, and it's inside, almost hits Bettendorf, but he just leaps back and saves himself from getting a little strawberry in his right arm. The count now is 3 balls and no strikes for the Hagerstown Suns and Dave Bettendorf.
That's why you got out of coaching.
That's exactly why I got out. Boy, that's
Can't ask for a better night than baseball for this, Terry. I tell you,
No,
it's
you can't.
wonderful.
It's beautiful out here.
Fans should try to come out here as much as they can, and Jim Chesna just walks Dave Bettendorf, so now we have a runner on first and second. Bettendorf is on first with only 1 out here. The Generals just want to get out of this inning alive. As right now batting for the Hagerstown Suns,
Jack Voigt.
Jack Voigt, the 3rd baseman.
1 for 2 officially. He walked his last time up.
He's played at third base, right field, and left field according to some of the Hagerstown officials. Now he's playing right field. Plays college ball at LSU.
Swan with great quickness. It's a 13.
And right now the Royals are probably wondering who they got in the draft who can help the Generals possibly in the months ahead, Terry, as we've been talking about all night long.
Hamilton guarded by Swan.
Here's a pitch by Jezza right to the second baseman, throws it to first for the double play in the fourth as Angel Morris tags him out. So Laureano has the force at second, relays it to Angel Morris, and the inning right there is complete for right now. So we played 5 1/2. The Generals still trail at 8-1. We'll try to get to the commercials right now. Hampton Audio and Electronics, located on 2161 Cunningham Drive in Hampton, Virginia, in Coliseum Square. Contact Ronald Smith at 838-4028. They have the best in cellular phones, stereos. They have basically everything as you take a look at a fan and a youngster right there looking on at the ballpark tonight. A wonderful evening for baseball. Can't ask for anything better. As Hampton Audio Electronics, a proud sponsor of Virginia Generals baseball tonight. Hampton Audio Electronics, a proud sponsor of Virginia Generals baseball. Contact Ronald Smith at 838-4028. Also, AMC Theaters and Coliseum 4 Theaters, located in Coliseum 4. They have plenty of good movies going on right now. Rambo 3. You can't miss that one at Coliseum 4, 838-5442. For the best of movies at Coliseum 4 and AMC Theaters. The best in town is definitely right here in Hampton. Some of our proud sponsors tonight, the Clean Machine, of course. Do your walls need cleaning, folks? How about your floors, your basements? Well, the Clean Machine, located on 1799 North Armstead Avenue, is a place that will take care of all of your cleaning needs. The telephone number is 838-4646 for the Clean Machine. The Clean Machine will make everything in your home or business looking brand new. Call the Clean Machine at 838-4646 today.
Francisco Laureano
takes the first pitch for a ball 1.
Dishes in the corner for Eric Wesley. Inside for Steve Hamilton.
And Laureano on the year for the Generals is batting at 178. But he has 7 RBIs and no home runs. Just trying to get back in pace. An excellent defensive second baseman, Terry.
He is a good prospect, the heir apparent to Mr. Frank White, the Royals, at least that's the rumor. He's back down here after that stint that I mentioned earlier in Baseball City, Florida. But we got a guest right here, the assistant general manager of the Generals, Mr. Glenn Strong, a good friend of mine and a very funny guy.
And he'll join us for about a half an inning, and Terry Armour will be back with us. We're here in the bottom of the 6th. Greg Becaveras, along with Terry Armour and Glenn Strong. And
Thank you, Terry.
The count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes on the Generals, and Glenn Strong, the assistant general manager. Glenn, tell us what it's been like for your first year as assistant GM at the ballpark here at War Memorial.
It's been an awful lot of fun, Greg. Had a chance to meet people like Terry Armour and you and members of the press and other teams. Of course, there's a lot of work involved too, getting set up for games. It's been a really nice crowd tonight. Had a lot of fun. A lot of work goes into setting up for this many people.
What kind of work goes off during the off-season as far as the management is concerned, Glenn, as far as getting ready for the next year?
Well, the big thing we've got to do in the off-season, Greg, is selling advertising. What's the matter, Terry?
And of course, that's a 365-day-a-year job, and really there's never no ending to selling advertising for a baseball team or any event or business, as you might say.
Yeah, well, Eric Rosenfeld worked very hard in the off-season. We've got a record number of billboards out here this year, and we're very proud. We're very happy with all the people that have chosen to sponsor us this year. Of course, there's more than selling advertising in the off-season too. You've just got to. Well, this off-season we had to go out and find a team that was going to play here because the White Sox took off on us. It was unfortunate, but they found a new park out in the Midwest.
As you take a look at Angel Morris, the first baseman. Angel's been batting pretty well lately, Glenn. It's good to see him get back on track.
Yeah, I was happy to see him on second base a couple times today.
And it's a line drive into left field, and the runner goes to second. Laureano is on second, and we have a runner on first and second here in the bottom of the sixth. And right now, coming up to the plate for the Virginia Generals will be Tom Johnson. And what a great defenseman he has been all season long for the Virginia Generals.
Terry, are you playing an instrument there, Terry? Yes? Okay.
As you hear the wonderful music in the background, trying to charge the players back up here.
Harmon did a good job that time, but he also did a job of hooking. He hooked his hand around the defender to get a step on him.
Score right now 8-1. The Generals trailing it here in the bottom of the sixth. Tom Johnson, outfielder, 5'11", 180 pounds, from Fort Myers. One of the 4 players who played on Fort Myers last year. They come in pairs, it seems like, Glenn. Of course, for Appleton, Derek Ladner, Andre Ford, and Kent Heatley all play together, so it really makes it comfortable that some of the same players played together in 1987, joining the Generals here in 1988. And as we speak right there, Tom Johnson,
Get out of here,
right
baby!
field, and it's gone. Oh, God.
Hold on!
And he's been threatening to do it all night long. The fans are on their feet. A 3-run home run by Tommy Johnson. And Johnson on the year
Are we going to replay on that?
just knocked his 3rd home run and his 24th RBI. So Tommy Johnson showing he can hit for power at all types of the fields, Glenn. And
Gotta
right
love
there,
TJ. Was that over the New American billboard or the used auto parts billboard?
I think it came towards the Beach Nut and Rental Tools.
Oh.
As you take a look at the Virginia Generals, as they bring in some fire right now. Still, anything can happen right now, Glenn, as you can well tell towards the later innings.
Tell you, this team's been hitting lately, Greg. I'm sure Terry's been talking to you about that some. We scored a lot of runs in the last few games, and 8-4 ball game. We're by no means out of this one.
What do the Generals have to do to concentrate as the season comes to about a close in the first half of the season? They look forward to the second half of the season. With a 3-game winning streak, Joe Breeden has to be optimistic.
We wanted to get a winning streak going at the end of the first half.
There's a grounder right to the first baseman, and he'll be out there as Luis Corsino, the 3rd baseman, grounds out for out number 2. And Corsino, who played at 3rd base for most of the year, from Fort Myers last year, will bring up Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese, not exactly the greatest batter in the world, but I tell you one thing, he's probably one of the better catchers in the Carolina League defensively, and lately has been batting pretty consistent as well.
Yep. Nah, he's Terry, what are you laughing at? It's very comfortable when Kyle Reese is behind the plate. Got a lot of confidence in him defensively. But you know, Greg, going back to what you were saying before, we really are hoping that the Generals can pick up some wins, a lot of wins, at the end of the first half, build up some confidence. No matter how good you are, you lose some confidence when you have a 15-game losing streak. But if we can get a little confidence back, start playing ball the way we know we can play ball, then I think we're going to have a real good shot in the second half.
And of course, it's an entire team effort from top to bottom. The Peninsula Team of the Year is the Pilots, the White Sox, now they're the Royals. Glenn Strong, of course, the assistant general manager. Glenda Filippi, the general manager.
And just like
It's great to see folks out here in the ballpark as the count now is 2 balls and 1 strike, out 1. We're in the 6th inning. Greg Vicaveros along with Terry Armour and Glenn Strong here. Hope you're enjoying the ball game. As pitch is up high for 3 balls and 1 strike.
We're inside of a 11-point game
right on Kyle Reese. Kyle Reese, 6 foot, 185 pounds from Fort Myers last year, 23 years of age.
I'm not sure what his season record is, but he looks pretty good.
Craig, thanks a lot for having me on. It was very fun.
I appreciate it, Glenn.
You're doing a good job.
The best of luck to you for the season ahead.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Terry, back to you.
And right there, Reese grounds 1 toward the third baseline as you take a look at him swinging, getting his extra swings in. And
They've basically done it all.
always good to talk to the management staff, to be optimistic about the season ahead. And plenty of ball games left here at War Memorial Stadium, Terry.
Yeah, there are. They've got a lot to be optimistic about, at least right now, with the 3-game winning streak. And, of course, the runs they've just scored this inning, it's a brand-new ball game, although they are still down by 4 runs, but at least they have 4 runs.
8-4 is the score. 8 runs, 12 hits, no errors. A strikeout right there as Reese goes out on too many pitches right there as he swung on that one. As you take a look at the catcher and the first baseman talking to each other. The score now 8-4. That'll bring up Andra Ford, and Andra is doing what tonight, Terry?
Andra has struck out swinging twice. Robert Fish alluded to the fact earlier that Ford was benched at some point during that losing streak because he was striking out too much. He struck out twice tonight, swinging.
Score is 8-4 now. Here's a pitch by Dubois. And Andra Ford with his power fouls 1 back. Count now is even at 1 ball and 1 strikes. The schedule ahead, the Generals, they've been on a road trip for so long it seems like, and it's good to come back at home, winning 3 games at Lynchburg.
8 points for Blackman.
Hagerstown here for 5 games. Then they have Prince William as Andre Ford lays down the bunt, but he's out at first base to retire the side.
The throw was perfectly channeled there, and Andre Ford does not beat it out. So he played 6 full innings here with the score 8-4, but the Generals do come out with some runs there to make it pretty interesting for the fans at least, Terry.
Well, it gave the fans something to cheer about. We were talking about the fact that they don't seem to get enough fans here. Maybe this will be the start of something, especially since this could be the last year for the Generals, as Charlie Dinn, a sports writer at the Daily Press, he wrote an article talking about the future of baseball on the Peninsula in Sunday's paper. And Gil Granger, who owns the team, is pretty optimistic about the future, but they got to get some fans in the ballpark.
There's been baseball here for so many years, since the 1940s, of course, with the Dodgers organization. So many of the fans enjoyed coming here to War Memorial Stadium, and they still are right now this year, 1988. But of course, you need people to support a baseball team. That's what it all comes out. Gil Granger doing a wonderful job running the team over the years, gone with the Pilots and the White Sox. He bought it in 1985. He's been a city councilman now. His daughter is running the team, doing a very good job at it. As you take a look at one of our fans, acknowledging her presence tonight at the ballpark. Great night for baseball, and our producer Sam still in charge of everything over here tonight on Channel 29. One of our fine sponsors, of course, Robinson Contracting on 25th Street for all types of painting. You can call 247-1026. Shaw's TV and Appliance, Hampton Audio Electronics, AMC Theaters, Fashion Care Cleaners, Able Systems and Supplies. They have typewriters there. They're located on the Oyster Point Development Center on Cannon Road. Come out there to Able Systems and Supplies for the best in any type of equipment you want. Rental Tools, located here on Pembroke Avenue. They rent tools, jigsaw, they rent tractors, they rent just about everything. Give Rental Tools a call tomorrow for any types of tools you want to rent. You can call 247-5891. As the first pitch to Terry Brown. He fouls it toward the third base line for the count now to be 0-1. The fans really can't be disappointed. It's been a wonderful ball game. A lot of action going on tonight, Terry.
That's true. A lot going on. The Generals started off pretty slow, down 8-0, or 8-1, I should say. Finally got some scores on the board. That home run by Tom Johnson seemed to liven up the crowd here.
And it seems like the Generals pitchers are coming on late. Of course, Boyles found himself in too many jams early on. He just could not get out of it in the fourth inning when he allowed 3 runs. And of course, Chesna gave up a couple runs as well, but the last couple performances, as you see him just striking out there, Terry Brown has been looking very sharp.
Yes, Chesna's a pretty good pitcher. We talked earlier about the fact that he's young. He's got a good repertoire of pitches, and he can only get better. Everyone's looking for left-handed relief pitchers, pal. Everybody.
That is the case, of course, for the major leagues, AAA, everybody. I think a good look at Chesna right there. Taking the sign from Kyle Reese. As Hagerstown Suns right now find themselves in a pretty comfortable lead, 8-4.
Kenny Robinson back in the ball game for the Crabbers. Swad will fire from 3. He got it. Heidler spots
8-4. Greg Picaveras along with Terry Armour.
And we've got a foul. 41
As the pitch is down low for a ball.
Interesting story about Chesna. Chesna got one of these new wave haircuts a couple of weeks ago. Had the tail sticking on the back, cut off on the sides, coofed on the top. Got a lot of joking from his teammates on that.
As right there, Louis Polino, the catcher, pops one up into right field.
I don't know if they're going to give him a hit on that. Let's take a look
But
at the
the right fielder
scoreboard
did not
and
make
see.
the catch right there.
That ball, you almost expect that kind of ball to be caught. That's the kind of trouble the Generals have been having all season.
You got to make those catches right there. Of course, the simple plays have hurt the Generals this year.
And they're going to give him an error.
Right there. It should have been an error.
Error on the second baseman, Francisco Laureano.
Laureano is going back, misjudged the ball. I mentioned earlier, it's kind of hard to tell, of course, when it becomes daylight to dark. But at a time like this, and the season's been pretty well played, a good 51 games, they should be making the catches like that. As right now we have a runner on first. Here's the pitch by Chesna. Curveball is in for a strike. Right on 2.
Lattimore, who struck out looking last time up. Here's Chesna in the windup.
Lattimore, the third baseman. And he fouls one back, so the count now is 0-2. Chesna getting ahead of the batters pretty well the last couple of performances or so. Has to be pretty happy about that. Generals have to look forward probably to game 2 unless they can make a good comeback. Have to score at least 5 runs to do it. But anything can happen, Terry, as we've well talked about.
Anything can happen. This is baseball.
Now, baseball in the Tidewater area does prosper pretty well. Of course, the Tidewater Tides, a AAA team of the New York Mets at Met Park, always draw very well. They've been there since 1969. As right there, a grounder hit to the second baseman, relays to first for the double play. So Lattimore goes out right there. And the Generals get out of possibly another scoring hinge right there as the score remains the same at 8-4 as Chesna gets out of it pretty safely.
Well, bottom of the 7th inning, what can they do? What can they do? Can they score 5 runs right here?
He's got 19 points.
Should get a look at the fans out there, the brass section.
This is not Duke Ellington's band here, but I tell you one thing, it looks almost second to none. Right here at War Memorial Stadium, where you can get all kinds of entertainment here, baseball. You can get a good day at the ballpark, enjoy some of the best food around, and just come out here and enjoy baseball at its best. Carolina League action, probably one of the stronger Class A leagues in baseball.
You get a look at the dugout. There was Tom Johnson, the home run hitter right there, smiling, walking around. Angel Morris. seem to be having some fun out there regardless of what the score is. Talking to Stu Cole about that excellent lead into the double play last inning in the inning.
You know, in professional baseball, though, the saying can't go no matter whether you win or lose. It's how you play the game, because it's a business. You're out to make money. And, of course, a professional team wants to win because that's the only way they can, you know, get the fringe benefits from the fans, the media, as well as the supporters and the sponsors as well. It's not like Little League Baseball where you can just go out and say you win or lose, but it's how you play the game. Of course, it's always good sportsmanship and conduct, but sports is a business, and winning is, of course, a big part of that.
That's true, and if you don't put a good product out on the field, people aren't going to come out to the ballpark. Money is the bottom line.
And right there, the first pitch to Kent Headley is right down the middle for a called strike. Headley, one of the original 12 players in this Kansas City team. He's stuck with the team all 51 games this year. As he fouls one back toward the right field line, and it hooks right towards the clubhouse. So the count now is 0-2. Dubois pitching very well. His earned run average will probably stay about the same since he's allowed 4 runs, but he's very consistent, strong performer for this Hagerstown team.
Yes, he is. Everything seems to be working for Mr. Dubois tonight.
As Terry and I have mentioned, Headley batting .288 on the year, no home runs, but he does have 15 RBIs. And he hits one right to the third base line, and he'll throw it to first. But it goes off the glove, I believe, of the first baseman.
Dave Segui dropped the ball. That was good play at third base there by Mr. Lattimore. He got the ball over there. Segui just dropped the ball. That's got to be an E, an error on the first baseman.
Has to be, and the Generals right now, this is the time. There is no tomorrow as far as this game is concerned. Although, believe it or not, they do have another game after this. So the folks will be able to enjoy it. Hope you're enjoying it on Channel 29 here tonight. And the first pitch is up high for ball 1 on Stu Cole.
Stu Cole made that excellent play to start the double play to end the inning. Ball 1, no strikes, no outs.
Stu Cole batting at .266, second on the team in hitting. Check swing foul right to the Generals dugout. As you see, the beautiful evening here in the peninsula, the greater peninsula here in Hampton Roads. War Memorial Stadium located on Pembroke Avenue. Try to come out to the ballpark and support the Virginia Generals. As the count now is 1 ball and 1 strike on Stu Cole. Runner on first. And Cole hits one right toward the gap of the right field line, and he'll stand up for a single. And all of a sudden, the tide has changed, and the momentum is going towards Virginia, Terry.
Yeah, that's Stu Cole's 3rd hit of the night. And all of a sudden, looks like Doobie might be in some little bit of a jam, as you see Ken Headley over there at second base. Doobie walking around on the mound, getting ready to get a talk from Mr. Polino.
Louis Polino, one of the more veteran catchers in the Carolina League. You should take a good look at Dubois and Polino talking together. He said, "You've come so far, you've done so well. Let's continue this game and get a W and go to the second game." And 8-4 right now, and the Generals now have 8 hits, 2 errors, 4 runs, and of course Hagerstown has 8 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. The score is 8-4. The Generals are trailing it by 4. With one swing of the bat right here, the score can become 8-7. We might go into extra innings.
That's why they're going to the bullpen, as Dubois has done his duty for the evening. Coming in, if I get a good look at this guy.
And of course, we'll try to cover some more sponsors for you. Fashion Care Cleaners. Fashion Care Cleaners, Michael Southern doing a fine job at Langley Square. Try to come out and see him and buy and get all your clothes cleaned at Fashion Care Cleaners at Langley Square. AMC Theaters for the best movies in town. Go to Coliseum 4. The Clean Machine. You can call Mr. Ivory at 838-4646 or on North Armstead Avenue, 1799. They clean just about everything you can imagine. Walls, ceilings, and everything out there. They do it. rental tools. They rent small jigsaws, tractors. The person to speak there, West Pembroke Avenue, is called 247-5891, Rental Tools. Bargain City, USA for the best bargain in town. Whether it's a candy bar or a fishing pole, you can go to Bargain City, USA, right on West Mercury Boulevard off of Big Bethel Road, to get the best bargain in town. Bargain City, USA. Ames Tuxedos for the best tuxedo. You'll look sharp. It's Ames Tuxedos.
We got Francisco de la Rosa in for Hagerstown right now. He is 0-3. He has pitched in 9 games, 3.63 ERA. He's got 2 saves, going for 1 right here. Of course, the runs on base would be the responsibility of Mr. Brian DuBois.
And the Virginia Generals right now send up Derek Ladner. And Derek Ladner, the third baseman, 6 foot, 285 pounds, will try to crack one here. Be nice to get a 3-run home run. Ladner, of course, batting .228 on the year. Longest winning streak, of course, 3 games. Longest losing streak for the Generals is 15. They made 39 double plays this year. We'll see if they can get some doubles right now. Pitches outside for a ball. Ball 1 on Derek Ladner.
Derek Ladner batting from the right-hand side, the left-hand side for the night. He's got 3 home runs. All 3 of the home runs have come from the left side of the plate. I don't know what that's saying, but who knows?
The Generals right now, runners on first and second. The pitch is down low for a ball, and count now is 2-0 on Ladner. You know, Terry, when you look at this season, the Generals in the early part of the season got behind early, and that hurt them. You know, so many runs scoring early on. And when they scored first, they've been 500 at 10-10.
That's true. They got to stop that. That's pitching. When you got a lot of young pitchers, teams are going to score early.
And that's evident. They've had 108 errors this year. As Ladner hits one into deep right center field. Could it be? It is. That's a home run.
Home run for Derek Ladner. Left side of the plate. Derek Ladner will take that home run trot, touching them all. He got that pitch in his wheelhouse, Greg.
Oh boy, folks, we've got a barn burner here at War Memorial Stadium. Keep your station set on Channel 29. Channel 29 Sports, and you just see Derek Ladner hitting a 3-run home run.
Number 4 on the year for Derek Ladner, all of them from the left-hand side.
And Joe Breeden has to be happy about that. They were down at one time 7-1. They have outscored this team by a total of 6-2 in the last couple of innings or so. And they have gotten 2 home runs to do it tonight to add to the cause. And Derek Ladner just showing his power to opposite field.
And still nobody out, Greg, as Francisco Laureano steps up to the plate. I bet you home runs, visions of home runs are dancing in this man's head right now.
Laureano takes the first pitch for a strike.
Big swing.
Big fastball there and a big swing, as you mentioned. Laureano last year played in Appleton for Burlington. 21 years of age from the Dominican Republic. He likes listening to music and shopping. We'll see if he can shop right now and hopefully shop one out in the outfield. The count now is even at 1 ball and 1 strike for Laureano. Batting at 178 on the year. If he can just get on base anyway, like a walk or something, and he can bring on for the Generals later on as well.
Well, you got the hot-hitting Angel Morris on deck right now, so let's see what Francisco can do.
Angel Morris fouls one back. So the count now is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Laureano. Laureano playing for Virginia. And of course, Joe Breeden, the manager, was at Warwick High School, of course, in the Peninsula and William & Mary, trying to get his charges set up here for game number 1. Because when you thought it was over, it's not.
It's not over as Francisco Laureano gets, I'm sorry, Mr. De La Rosa gets ready for the pitch. Sorry about that, Greg.
A fresh beginning here at War Memorial Stadium. The fans for the most part, have stayed on and cheered this team. That's really how to play a big part. If you have fans in the stands, it's going to help the confidence of the players out in the field.
Well, you can't really play when you got 20 people in the stands. I mean, you get more people at a Little League game.
That'll definitely change here as Frank Laureano, batting at 178, will try to be the Cinderella if he can come through here tonight. Here's the pitch, and it's down low for the ball, and Terry, that's exactly what I was talking about. Laureano, who's not exactly the greatest hitter in the world, batting at 178, and Joe Breeden has to be happy. Angel Morris batting over 300 in the last 15 games, and right now a runner on first, nobody out, and this game has been a total 360-degree turn.
You got it, pal. Over at first base, you see, after the walk, Mr. Francisco Laureano. First base coach over there for the Generals looks like it's Jose Angraro coaching his buddy over there at first base. A little discussion going on the mound. The umpire comes out to break it up. De La Rosa in a little bit of a jam here. Big Angel Morris coming up.
Hope you're enjoying the ball game tonight. We certainly are here. We're watching a great game. We watched a tremendous comeback by the Virginia Generals. And it really hasn't been one or two players. It's been an entire team effort. Of course, Stu Cole and Derek Ladner. Of course, Ladner with a home run. Tommy Johnson has played so well tonight. And the pitching has faltered, but this time the batting has come through in the long run.
The throw over the first base. Angel Morris, who's got 2 hits already this game, both of them solid singles.
Angel Morris, 13 of 35 in his last 35 at-bats for 371. And the runner goes. Here's the throw. Not in time as he goes to third. And he'll stand up. And he slides in safe. So Frank Laureano goes from first to third, and right there with his speed, he shows it right there, as the count still is 0-1, and right now the Generals are in a good opportunity to win this ball game, great opportunity.
You see Joe Breeden out there talking to Laureano. That's good heads-up base running too, especially to get up and to motor down to third base and get there. Scoring position. Right now, a long fly by Angel Morris will bring a run in.
Nobody out. Here's the pitch. And it's fouled back into the backstop. The count now is 0-2.
You tell me Angel Morris isn't trying to get that run in right now.
And you can tell the tide is changing too, Terry. The team has won the last 3 games, the Generals, and now they come into the crucial stages of the first half of the season. Normally, about a month ago, they probably wouldn't have come back from a game like this, but now their confidence is at an all-time high, and they have.
That's true.
Here's the pitch. And it's fouled back once again, goes through the backstop.
Whoa.
And a fan will have a lucky souvenir. Angel Morris played with the Sarasota Royals the last 2 years, signed as a free agent with Kansas City in 1986. Angel Morris is only 20 years old. He bats and throws right.
Angel.
We'll see if he can do it today.
Trying to bring a run in.
And the Hagerstown Suns and Mike Hart have to say, what has happened to my ball club tonight? They're leading at 7-1, and now the score is 8-7, Hagerstown. And once again, Angel fouls it back.
Angel Morris with a good eye there.
Along with Terry Armour, this is Greg Bicaveras, Channel 9 20 Sports, as we're bringing you the ball game here tonight. Score is 8-7 if you're just joining us. The Hagerstown Suns were leading at 7-1. They jumped to a 4-0 lead. Du Bois, who was 3-4, is pitching most of the ball game, but he got rocked. And right now, Angel Morris just goes down on strikes. I believe Terry swung on a pitch where it could have been a ball easily because it was right down in the dirt.
Yeah. Angel a little over anxious. He's been knocking the ball around these ballparks in the Carolina League lately, and he was going for a single right there. As Segui and Strijek stroll on out to talk to De La Rosa.
And right now, Tom Johnson, the man of the hour, will be up as.
Well, what do you think is going through Tom Johnson's head right now?
He's saying all I have to do is get a sacrifice fly, and this game can be tied up. And he will definitely be Prince Charming if he can do that. As the fans enjoying the ball game tonight here at War Memorial Stadium, I'd say 1,000 strong here tonight. Tom Johnson.
Tom Johnson, big 3-run homer in the 7th inning.
And that's basically gave the Generals the breathing room they needed to get back into momentum. And they've done it so far tonight. Here's the pitch, and it's outside for ball 1 on Tom Johnson.
Yeah, he might be a little scared of Tom Johnson right now. I don't think Mr. Johnson's going to get anything that he can swing at right now. Just get a good look at him right there. He's thinking, let's tie this game up.
Francisco De La Rosa coming in for Dubois a couple innings ago, trying to get out of this inning. And he does that exactly. Right there is Tom Johnson, who just singled one into right field, brings in Laureano, and folks, we have a new ball game here.
Tie game. Well. You know, what a game to televise, huh, Greg?
I tell you one thing, you have to be happy about that. The score now is at 8 apiece. 7-1. The Generals are trailing. And like a barnstorm, they came back like a herd of wolves together and started getting inning by inning, a home run by Johnson, a 3-run home run. And there, he just right there hits one into right field and knocks in Laureano to even the ball game up at 8 apiece. And Terry, this has to be a new era and a new beginning for the Virginia Generals.
You said it, pal. Looks like Pete Alvarado is about to pinch hit for the Generals. As Joe Breeden strolls back out to the third base coach's box.
And that is definitely the case there.
Pete Alvarado, 244, Greg, in 44 games for the Generals. 31 hits, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs, 1 game-winning RBI. You think he's looking for number 2 right now?
I'd say he might be right now. It'd be a great time to do it. The Generals have to be happy. They were down by 6 runs, and they came in the bottom of the 7th. It was 7-1. Now the score is 8 apiece. 12 hits for Hagerstown and 10 for Virginia. And Virginia really does not have nobody in the top 10 of the Carolina League in batting, but they might after this game. And Tom Johnson might be up there. Score now is 8-8, nothing in 1. On Frank Laureano. Check that. Pete Alvarado. 3 home runs with Joe Breeden. You think he's looking for the long ball, Terry?
I don't know. Mr. Breeden is Mr. Basic Baseball. He just wants him to make some contact, get on base, move that runner over to second base. But I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be disappointed if he got a home run.
Oh, no. To end this game right away, he would do it. 1 swing of the bat. And De La Rosa takes the swing, and it's way down into the dirt on the left side. The count now is even at 1 ball and 1 strikes.
As Pete stands out and gets the sign from manager Joe Breeden coaching over at third base.
Pete Alvarado from Brooklyn, New York, went to Lincoln High School out there, Brooklyn College. Drafted 29th, played at Eugene's Emerald in the Northwestern League last year in Gulf Coast as well. 6'1", 185 pounds. He will be 23 on December the 12th. What's the average age of the ball players here, Terry? About between 20 and 23 years old.
Yeah, I'd say about 20. You got a couple of cases where you got some guys who are a little bit older, but...
And some younger, of course.
And some younger, of course. Mr. Chesney is a perfect example. And
Andra Ford.
Pitch out. Nobody's going anywhere.
And De La Rosa, the right-handed pitcher from the Dominican Republic, he's gotten a little erratic the last couple of innings or so, and The bucket of water has fell on him, per se. He has definitely woken up. He can take a cold shower after this and say, what has happened? He has to be a little perplexed, and so do the Hagerstown Suns, because defensively, they're one of the better teams in the Carolina League.
Brian DuBois cruising along, and all of a sudden, bam.
Team pitching, they're 26 and 25, as I mentioned, and their ERA.
Oh,
Headers.
Pass ball.
And right there, we have a runner going to second.
Runner in scoring position, Tom Johnson.
A wild pitch there by De La Rosa. And it goes by the glove of the catcher right there for Hagerstown. And right now, we have a runner on second in scoring position. And Pete Alvarado still going neck and neck with De La Rosa. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike. They have a runner on second. And only 1 out.
Looks like they're going to intentionally put him on right now and pitch to Kyle Reese.
I guess if you were Mike Hart, the manager for the Hagerstown Suns, the person you would want to pitch to is Kyle Reese. Kyle is doing what tonight, Terry?
Excuse me. Kyle Reese has 1 single. He's 1 for 3. Struck out swinging his last time up. As Joe Breeden is about to talk to him. We'll see what they've got on mind. Over there on first base, Pete Alvarado after the intentional walk. Joe Breeden talking with Kyle Reese's catcher. And of course, another conference going on the mound. As looks like another pitching change for Hagerstown right now. And that looks like Steve Coker, a former Virginia General, is pitching against his mates like his buddy Brian DuBois.
That certainly is the case. So the new pitcher right here in the bottom of the 7th, Joe Breeden, walking back, and a couple of warm-up tosses here they'll take.
Steve Kokar, who is 4-1 on the year. With the Generals, he had a 4.08 ERA, but he got it down to 3.44 when he went to Hagerstown. He has appeared in 18 games total. He's got 3 saves in 34 innings pitched, giving up 27 hits. Struck out 25, he's walked 16.
Steve having the best of both worlds, trying to get back at his former teammates here. And of course, he's 22 years of age from Des Plaines, Illinois.
My hometown.
Not too far from the big Midwest, the Windy City of Chicago.
The big C.
The big Chicago. The Cubs, they playing very well as of late, too.
Who cares about the Cubs? I'm a White Sox fan, Gray. And, of course, they're not playing well.
A lot of veterans. Greg Walker, of course, who plays first base for the White Sox, played right here in Peninsula in 1979.
Greg Walker hit many, many home runs over that Days Inn sign out there in right field.
Certainly did. Randy Day, you can go on and on. As we mentioned, Duke Snyder, Gary Carter, Johnny Bench, Julio Franco, Don Carmen. They've all played here at War Memorial Stadium, and hopefully fans, you can come out here and make it part of your tradition as the tradition continues with the Virginia Generals at War Memorial Stadium in 1988. So our new pitcher, Steve Coker, 6 foot 180 pounds. And he faces with a runner on first and second, not exactly the position somebody would want to come into in the bottom of the 7th. A lot riding on Steve Coker right now.
Well, the Generals have a little speed on first base as Jose Anglero comes in to run for Mr. Alvarado. As we mentioned with the age factor with the Generals, Jose Anglero is only 19 years old, plays a little shortstop and a little third base for the Generals. But the man to look at right now is Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese, 115 batting average, 61 at-bats, 1 home run. Takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. 8-8 is the score. 8 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors. For Hagerstown, 8 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. For Virginia, almost an identical count on the scoreboard. Along with Terry Armour, I'm Greg Bicaveras. I hope you're enjoying the ball game tonight on Channel 29. Runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. And Reese takes a monstrous pitch, and he swings it. Now he's behind the count at 0-2. As Anglero walks back to first base. Anglero, known for his speed for the Generals, and that's why Joe Breeden inserted him at this time right now, Terry.
That's right. Trying to get some runs around. You got two of the fastest guys on the team, Tom Johnson at second and Jose Anglero at first base. As Colker's pitches. Ooh.
Lines one deep into the parking lot on the left side. And hooks way foul.
Well, you think those guys in the Hagerstown dugout are wondering if they should have intentionally walked Alvarado to get to this guy after a pitch like that? Just missed it.
Exciting Carolina League baseball action here from War Memorial Stadium. As Kyle Reese right now finds himself in a 0-2 situation. Only one out in the 7th inning. As the Generals are in pretty good shape, but Reese right there a little impatient and swings and a miss. So the count right now is over for him. So we have 2 out, and Andre Ford steps up to plate.
Excuse me, Greg. Yes, Andre Ford, who's 0 for 3. He struck out twice and last at bat grounded out. Maybe he'll try to redeem himself, make himself 1 for 4 instead of 0 for 4 right here.
On the year, he's batting pretty good at .259. He has 2 home runs, but tonight has not been his cup of tea against Hagerstown at all.
As he lays off that pitch by Colker, looked like a high fastball.
Don Buford, stolen bases 27 for Hagerstown. They are up there. Hagerstown is up there in just about every category in the Carolina League.
You know, Greg, this game is cruising on to 3 hours and about 11 minutes.
Yes, sirree. Of course, Hagerstown, we think of their pitching staff. Bob Williams, 4-1. Will definitely be pitching this series. As the count now is 2 balls and no strikes, and Andre Ford. And Joe Breeden might say, let's try to get runners on first, second, and third. We can have a little bit more cushion. But we'll see what Andre does right now.
Well, you know, the game will be over if Andre gets a hit right here, since it's only a 7-inning contest.
All it takes is 1 swing of the bat, and the count now is 3-0 as Colker finds himself behind the count against Andre Ford. Hagerstown on the year as a team batting .234, Virginia batting .223. No team is batting at .275. Kinston batting at .263, followed by Winston-Salem at .256. So a swing and a miss. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strikes, Terry.
Andre Ford swung at ball 4 there, Greg. Getting a little over anxious. Setting himself up for a strike right now.
He should not have done that one, folks. If he wouldn't have swung there, it would have been runners on first, second, and third. But maybe Andre knows something we don't know. That's why we're up here and he's down there.
You just better hope it's not a curveball breaking inside or he's history.
And he swings, it's off the light pole, goes back down to the field, and the count now is full, Terry, at 3-2.
3-2. You know the runners will be going, Greg.
We'll see what Andre Ford does now. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 7th inning. When Andre Ford has a lot of heat riding on him right now. If he can get it, he'll be able to ride home tonight and think of how he saved the game for the Virginia Generals and made a good comeback, but he swings and it's a foul back to the backstop, so the count remains the same at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Last year he batted at .263 for Appleton in the Midwest League, and he had 2 home runs. Not a big power hitter, but he's a pretty consistent hitter for the most part.
He makes contact, or he did make contact before he went into his 10 of 49 slump through May.
This is going to be the pitch, folks. Keep your set here on channel 29.
It looks at
Andre
strike
Ford
3.
could not believe it. A strikeout. Andre thought it was a ball, Terry. He looks at the home plate umpire, Jack McKeon, and questions the call, but he doesn't argue too much. But the good thing for the Virginia Generals, they go out the bottom of the 7th with the score 8 apiece. Good comeback for the Generals and Joe Breeden.
That's true. Well, sit tight, everybody. We got ourselves an extra inning contest going right now.
It's anybody's bowl game. Virginia Generals and the Hagerstown Suns. Right here from War Memorial Stadium. I want to thank all our sponsors for sponsoring the game tonight. Shoals TV and Appliances, Bargain City USA, Clean Machine, Rental Tools, Ames Tuxedos, Able Systems and Supplies, Fashion Care Cleaners, Robinson Contracting, and of course Hampton Audio Electronics. They've all been with us tonight sponsoring this game here at War Memorial Stadium.
And coincidentally, Greg, every sponsor that you alluded to, I do business with them. Boy, what a coincidence, huh?
I think all of us do, Terry. And of course, Terry even visited Ames Tuxedos, didn't you, Terry?
Yeah, you know, this tuxedo's getting pretty hot now, Greg. Pat McKinley, local product, another Warwick High School product. McKinley is in pitching for the Generals as we go into the 8th inning.
And Pat McKinley knows Joe Breeden. As I mentioned, Doug Mintz, who graduated from Warwick High School in 1986, is on the injured reserve. But as Terry mentioned, Pat McKinley is 1-1. He's got a 5.23 ERA. If you read that great Carolina League column in the Daily Press. Who wrote that?
I think Terry Armour. I'm not sure, Greg, but it might have been Terry Armour. You'll know that Pat McKinley is unhappy with his walks. McKinley has walked 20 guys, struck out 16 in 32.2 innings. He'd like to get his walks down, get that ERA down. Let's see what he can do for the Generals right here. Stop those Hagerstown bats.
So we have a lot of local players who have played for both teams. Chris Pinder,
right? Of
course, Pat McKinley, as you mentioned, Kevin Brooks, and of course a couple teammates going against each other as well. So a lot riding on this game tonight as far as the old war goes, I guess, around the bragging rights of Newport News and Hampton.
That's true.
Channel 29 Sports bringing the game tonight. Greg Bicaveras and Terry Armour, we're in the top of the 8th now. The score is 8 apiece. If you're just joining us, Virginia was down 7-1, but Tom Johnson got a 3-run home run to make it 8-4. Then it went all Virginia from there. They rocked a couple pitchers, Du Bois and a couple others as well. As right now, McKinley pitching to the Hagerstown Suns.
Here's Buford.
And Buford, of course, leading the team in stolen bases this year.
Just put another couple of stolen bases under his belt, so to speak.
If Greg Smith of Winston-Salem did not get any stolen bases tonight, Buford should be leading the league. Buford has 28 and Smith has 31. As he takes the pitch for a strike, the count now is 2 balls and 1 strike on Donnie Buford Jr.
Don's kid.
Don's kid, of course, folks. Remember, Don Buford played with that great team of Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson back in the 1960s when Earl Weaver was the manager for the Baltimore Orioles. Paul Blair, you can go on and on with that team back in the 60s. Of course, making it to the World Series in 1969 against the New York Mets.
Strike there.
As Buford takes the pitch for a strike, the count now is full at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I'd like to touch back on Derek Ladnier's home run, of course, his 4th of the year, all of them from the left side for the switch hitter. I can't remember seeing a ball hit that hard here at War Memorial Stadium, at least this season so far.
And right there, Buford hits one, a line drive into center field. He'll round first safely. Goes back, and Hagerstown just picked up its 13th hit of the ball game tonight.
And Buford's got 2 of them.
2 out of the 13, so actually he's improved his average up tremendously for tonight's game.
Yeah, Greg, I think we should keep our eyes open for a pitch out here because you know Buford has got to be going.
Certainly does, and Buford, Terry, who's got 2 hits tonight, was batting only 197 coming into tonight's ball game. And of course, as you mentioned, he's a speedster on the bases. He has a total of 28 stolen bases as of tonight. So batting next will be Randy Stryjek. And Stryjek will try to lead Buford on to second at least, but Buford might be able to handle that task himself.
We'll see.
Stryjek on the year.
Pat McKinley with the toss over their first baseman Angel Morris, trying to keep Buford in check.
For Virginia, as you see it right there, Stryjek, as I mentioned, on the year is batting a total of 263. As we have a runner on first, nobody out here in the top of the 8th, as McKinley throws it back to Angel Morris. And at time right now, do you think you should try to rest some of the players or keep basically the same ones in, since we have a doubleheader coming up, Terry?
I'd say you can almost expect to have at least 4 changes. Maybe not 4, but the fact that it's a doubleheader doesn't hurt to rest the players, but the fact that it's an extra inning doubleheader game, at least the first game is, he's got to rest some guys.
It's quite ironic, believe it or not, folks, the Virginia Generals are only looking for their 4th win at home this year at War Memorial Stadium, as right there, Stryjek bunts one. The throw from third base is in time for out number 1.
Jose Anglero, who was inserted, of course, to run for Pete Alvarado last inning. We should have mentioned it earlier, but we're mentioning it now. He is at third base. Good play by Jose.
Yes, sir, as Walt Harris will be batting now for Hagerstown. One of Mike Hart's more consistent players. Batting at 240. 20 RBIs for Walt Harris.
Stryjek did the job. He got Buford in scoring position.
Exactly what Terry and I were talking about. As we have a runner on second, 1 out here in the top of the 8th inning. And at bat is Walt Harris. The pitch, a bouncer up the middle, and it'll go right there. The throw, there will not be one, but he throws it back to third base. But through the springboard of the wall right there, goes right back to the third baseman. And luckily there was not a run extra right there, Terry.
Tell you right there, Greg, that how lucky we are that a run didn't score on that one. Luckily it bounced back to Jose. I don't know, maybe Stu Cole should have went to first base. I've seen him make that play a couple of times this year where he's caught a runner running around third base. But you don't want to take a chance like that. Now you got 2 guys on base.
And McKinley finds himself in a very difficult situation. You have a runner on first and third. You have 1 out. And you're facing one of the better and more consistent batters for this Hagerstown team. David Segui, the first baseman, batting 270 on the year. And he's a threat to hit at any time.
Excuse me.
And Pat McKinley wants to get out of this inning alive if he can. But the old trick is haunting Virginia right now with the runners left in scoring position and getting behind. If they get out of this, Terry, I tell you one thing, they definitely deserve to look ahead. Because I tell you right now, Virginia has played so well in the last couple of innings. They were down 7-1, and now the score is 8 apiece. They've gone so well so far, we'll see if they can keep it up. Count now is 1 ball and no strikes on Segui. He tips one foul as it rolls down the batting line. As the count now is even at 1-1.
It looked like Segui grounded the ball off his instep, and you know how painful that can be.
Injuries are big time this year. Hagerstown has had a lot of injuries as far as their pitching staff is concerned. And they're right now trying to keep away from the injuries as they are going into the thick of the season right now. 26-25 for the Suns. Runners on first and third. And Segui is at the plate. Here's the pitch by McKinley. Ground ball hit to third base. A force to second in time. Double play. So Segui hit it right over to Anglero. Anglero to Loreno, and back out to Morris for the double play right there. So the score now is 8 apiece, and the fairy godmother has to be on Virginia's side tonight, Terry.
That was a good play there by the middle infield of the Virginia Generals. Angel Morris has to be given some kind of credit for that stretch at first base, and he held on to the ball. They got out of that inning. Well, that's 2 lucky things that have happened. The ball bouncing back, and then, of course, the double play.
And it looked like, from our vantage point, that Anglero was bobbling the ball for a second, but he got it in time. And Stryjek, not the fastest player, was pulled out by Angel Morris, since Morris leaped and made that diving catch.
Well, that's something you don't like to see, even though Jose made the play. That one-handed grab can easily come out of the glove, as I'm sure Glenn Strong would agree. They got out of the inning, and here we go to the bottom of the 8th. What can the Generals do?
They can ask George Washington that maybe, Terry, and see if they can get ahead, and they've done it so well tonight.
George Washington, Greg?
The general himself. Think back in history now, Terry.
Oh, that George. Well, I thought you were talking about George Washington, the comedian.
Oh,
I apologize.
No, the Jeffersons are not airing tonight on Channel 29. As you're still taking a look at the pitcher right there for the Hagerstown Suns, Steve Kolker.
Still in the game, Steve.
Still in the game, Steve. 22 years of age, from Terry's hometown, Des Plaines, Illinois, not too far away.
Chicago, Illinois. You know, let me tell all of our wonderful viewers out there, you got to make it to Chicago sometime. They've really done wonders with Chicago these days.
Now, I guess for you, being brought up in the Chicago area, a White Sox fan, I know Glenn wants to be a Chicago Cubs front executive office manager one day, and he's looking forward to that maybe in the 1990s. Can you imagine? Glenn Strong? Next year.
Help out Jim Fry and those guys over there. They need all the help they can get.
So Steve Kolker will be facing Kent Headley. He hits one into right field. It's way up in the air, but it goes toward the dugout and will land. Lucky there, the Hagerstown Sun right fielder did not make the catch. Jack Voigt there, but Headley will go back on to home and try back and get another chance.
Well, of course, we thank you fans for bearing with us on this marathon 7-inning game. We're in the 8th inning now. 3.5 hours going on, 3.5 hours.
Well, we're not at Jerry Lewis's telethon yet, but you might think it is here in June the 1st, Terry. The Virginia Generals telethon here on Channel 29. Hope you enjoyed the ball game. Generals, folks, came back from trailing 8-1. Now try it up at 8 apiece. As the count now is 0-2 on Kent Headley. Kent's had quite a ball game tonight, Terry.
Well,
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Officially, he's 0 for 2, but I guess it'd be quite a ball game to some people.
Defensively, he's played very well.
But defensively, he has played very well.
As the count now, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Kent Headley. He is leading the team in batting, folks, at .288. And right there is exactly what I've been talking about all night. The guy was due for a hit. He got the hit. And Kent Headley right there trots on to first base. And I told you, Terry, he was due. He's 1 for 3 tonight. And his batting average will go back up after that hit.
Well, it represents the winning run here. Let's see what the Generals can do to get him around there and get him to score.
Stu Cole batting at .266. Headley, who I mentioned, was batting at .288 on the year, so he's done very well. He's 1 for 3 tonight. And Stu Cole right now will try to be the blessing in disguise for the Virginia Generals here in the 8th inning. Over 3 hours. He was not going to swing at that, but he had his bat in the wrong place. It was up high for ball 1, but regardless, it's a strike. So the count now is 0-1 on Stu Cole.
As Ken Headley will trot back over to first base. Still, Greg, as I look at Ken Headley with the running glove on one hand and the batting glove in his pocket, what's the difference?
No magic tricks tonight, but with that last hit, I'd tell you one thing, he has to be doing something right. And the Generals right now, with the crowd looking on very intense, trying to see if this team can come back with the first win. It's a line drive. It'll be fouled down the third base line by Stu Cole. He's behind the count at 0-2. On Stu Cole for the Virginia Generals.
Bobby Latmore at third base playing Stu Cole perfectly. So I guess Stu's going to try to hit it in between he and Strizek right now.
Runners on first. 2 strikes on Cole. The stretch and the delivery is up high for ball 1. Count now is 1-2 on Stu Cole. Terry, as you see, the division races in the American League and the National League, the New York Yankees, the Oakland A's, and of course the Los Angeles Dodgers. Nobody picked them to be first this year, but right now Tommy Lasorda has to be happy, except against the Mets. They haven't beat the Mets all season long.
Well, Lasorda does have a lot to be happy about because when you put the guys on the field, they aren't the best defensive team out there, but they've been doing pretty good this season, scoring a lot of runs. I think Kirk Gibson, very good addition to that Los Angeles Dodgers ball club.
As well as Steve Sachs, he's really cut on defensively.
The game is over. The game is over. The game is over. Ladies and gentlemen, the game is over.
Holy moly. A 2-run shot by Stu Cole.
There's your player of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Although there have been a lot, Stu Cole hit a home run. As you hear the fans here,
that was his first home run of the season right there.
First home run of the season, Greg, and what a perfect time for it.
A 2-run shot by Stu Cole, and the Virginia Generals defeat the Hagerstown Suns 10-8.
10-8.
Now only a magician could get them out of their hat early on, trailing 7-1, and they come back and win it 10-8 on 3 home runs tonight.
3 home runs, power. You know, you don't expect that when you come out to War Memorial Ballpark. I think this would have to be the first game that they have had 3 home runs in the game, not to mention a game-winning home run like that.
This has to be the turning point of the season, winning 3 games at Lynchburg. Joe Breed, the manager, and of course right now they win it 10-8 over the Hagerstown Suns. And what a game this has been, and what a turnaround it has been as well for the fans.
There's the
Quite
scoreboard.
a ballpark. That tells it all to you right there. 10 runs, 12 hits, and 2 errors for Hagerstown. 8 runs, 14 hits, and 2 errors for the Hagerstown Suns. The Generals win it 10-8, Terry.
Good game, a thrilling game. What a game to televise, Greg. I think we picked a good one. It was looking pretty gloomy in the first few innings, but 3 home runs. I mean, who knew? Who could have known?
Nice climate for a ballpark. Should encourage more fans to come out here to the ballpark at War Memorial Stadium. Virginia Generals on a roll right now, winning 4 games in a row. Lucky 13, and now 13-39.
13-39, trying to dig themselves out of that hole that they put themselves in when they had lost 15 games in a row.
And 25 games is definitely optimistic for the first half of the season.
They've got to be pretty happy as we look at ourselves there. I'm waving to the camera right there. And, of course, there's Greg, my buddy, my good buddy there.
Who is that guy right there with the red tuxedo?
Nice tux, huh?
It really is. Looks sharp.
They did a good job. They did what they have failed to do all season, and that is get runners in scoring position and score.
We'll see if we can get Joe Breeden on. I'll be back with Joe. Terry will be talking to you about the game. I'll get back with Joe Breeden right after this.
It's me. What a game. What a game. The Generals out-hit by 2. Scored 10 runs. They both teams committed 2 errors apiece. Interesting. It's interesting how the Generals have come from behind in fine fashion to win this game. As we look at the field, they're getting it ready for the second game. Of course, we won't be bringing you the second game. And there I am again. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. Home runs were the story today. Tom Johnson hit a home run to get the Generals within striking distance. Certainly the home run that Derek Ladnier hit, I mentioned earlier, he's only hit 4, and each of them have been from the left side of the plate for the switch hitter. And Stu Cole, who knew that Stu Cole, the little shortstop, would hit a home run, a game-winning shot. Most definitely the player of the game. As we take a look at the field now, Angel Morris extended his hitting streak. It's nothing more can be said. Fans came out here and they saw a good game. As you hear the music in the background, the announcer, John, coming over, giving me the fist sign. Everybody's doing good. The Generals are just playing good ball now. Certainly no one expected this to happen when they had lost 15 games in a row. Take a look at guys like Derek Ladnier, who was 5 for 26 during the losing streak, to hit a home run like he did. Tom Johnson, 8 for 44 during the losing streak, hit a hard home run, a nice shot over the right field wall. Say no to drugs night, big crowd on hand, the biggest crowd of the season for the Generals, and they gave the guys a win. They gave the fans a win. Good promotion here as you're watching on the Hampton Schools Network, Say No to Drugs Night. And of course, now it sounds like I'm rambling, doesn't it? But that'll happen when you're waiting for somebody to interview somebody. Oh, look in the parking lot. Looks like a lot of fans are satisfied. They don't want to sit here and see a split. They're heading home. But luckily, those people stayed. Dragging the field for the second game. Okay. As Greg Bicaveras joins me, we are going to wrap this telecast up. Great job, Greg.
Joe Breeden will be joining us temporarily for a post-game interview. He's a manager of the Virginia Generals. He's winning his 4th game in a row. He has to be pretty happy about that, Terry, winning 4 games in a row. As you take a look at the credits tonight, our great production staff led by Sam Still, Angela Brown, Jerome Young, of course, Bev Thaxton Penn. A great job with the character generator. Alvina Jones, the clerical assistant, wonderful job on her part. The director, the great guy himself, Scott Bowers.
Scotty.
Engineering by Angela Brown and Louis Bruno. If they didn't do their job, we couldn't do ours. And of course, the producer, Dr. Samuel Still. This has been a Channel 29 sports feature. We could glad you could be with us tonight here from War Memorial Stadium.
Thank you. I'm Terry Armour. Hey, read that Daily Press. The final, once again, Virginia Generals 10, Hagerstown 8. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're waving to you. Wave to the people. We're waving to you. Goodbye. And even you up there, wherever you are. Wave, yeah. See you guys later.